Hello, welcome back everyone. I'm RxOliver, these are my friends, and this is Ashes Without Number After the End, session 16. And I've got a feeling it's going to be a good one. I'm here with David, Brian, Max, and our games master for the evening, Brian. Brian, it's all yours, mate. Take it away.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So, for those who are diligently keeping up with us, we are. It's been a bit. It's been 4 weeks. Unfortunately, I was feeling ill when we were supposed to run our last session. I'm much better now, and yeah, looking forward to playing. So, session 16. It's been a month. So let's talk a little bit about what happened in session 15 because it was pretty pivotal. So the group had come together with another group led by a gentleman named Kent, and everybody was happy, and it's looking like Kent and his group are probably going to join the survivor parties group, or I don't know, if nobody else has a problem with it. I think at this point, from the way everybody else has kind of engaged with him, I think it's fair to say Charlemagne's group. Is anybody opposed to that?
I'm so proud.
Yeah.
I very rarely take on the leader role, and I'm not often very good at it. Very proud of Charlemagne, he's doing a good job.
So
it's all right. Your other character's trying to torpedo the group as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that right.
I'm a spanner in my own work. Say I'm the worst.
Right. So Kent's group and Charlemagne's group came together and had a wonderful night, and it's looking like everybody is going to kind of stay together with the goal of, from what they've heard from Kent's group, move to the north to possibly better climates where it's not constantly snowing near the equator. So they've heard. At any rate, on the next day, the morning of the next day, they discovered a form limping towards their base, towards the front door. And allowing it to approach, they discovered that it appeared to be a child of the father, harkening back to, I don't know, episode 3 or 4.
Maybe 2 or 3. 2 or 3, I think.
Maybe.
Very, very early days. Episode 3 was the church. I know from episode titles. 3 was the church.
So, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it would be back to there. And this father, this head of this group of kind of just bedraggled, torn down people who seem to be cannibals, sent a letter to to Charlemagne's party, inviting them to come meet. Well, first of all, praising them for putting together people and growing a following, a flock, as it were. But then inviting them to visit the father in his new home, which, they were also given a map to. He also mentions in this letter, not overtly, but essentially says that a few of Charlemagne's flock have drifted too far from the fold and are being well looked after in the father's care, because they have purpose even if they don't join the father's flock. So basically threatening to off those people that have been lost. Giulan and
Reuben?
Who was the other one? Yeah, Reuben. So, plans were made, decisions were made to head to this location and try to take out the father. But this time, they're trying to mount a larger force to do so. Kent has promised, I want to say, the fighters that he said he can take with you. I don't know if we ever said this specifically in the last session, but I've worked up that obviously all of his people are not fighters. But he's going to be able to bring, including himself, 6 or 7 people to back up your team, whoever decides to go from Charlemagne's folk. And then in addition to that, Kent sent one of his fighters, who used to be a Red Hand member, to the Red Hand at the hospital to see if he could rally them against a common enemy. Pyotr Turov was told that if he could interact with the daughter of Eldfen, that Sandra, that he might be able to get her to send some folk. But also, he said he could just talk to Eldfen because he thinks that Eldfen might be able to might want to remove the father. The Red Hand have engaged with the father before, and so this might be a good opportunity to build relations between the Red Hand and Charlemagne's group as well.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
Exactly.
So plans were made. The decision was made that a small group, I believe, led by Charlemagne still. You're playing Charlemagne today?
Yes.
Okay. So a small group led by Charlemagne is going to go scout out the location first, and then fall back to a campsite that will be set up at or near the mall, where the rest of the group, Kent's people, and then also hopefully people from the Red Hand, and not just Turov by himself, will also show up in 3 days' time, at which point the entire force will march on the father and his children. So that's where we left off in the last session. Shortly after having these discussions during the morning shift still,
Do you know what the date is?
you are now...
Ryan?
What's that?
The date? Do we know?
So yes, that's a good question. Let me open up my calendar.
I write notes and I really need it. That's where I start.
Yeah, so today is still the 28th of November. Or sorry, February, not November.
28th of February.
Of February, the 5th year after the end. And it is currently midday. There is one shift left. Well, 3 shifts left if you count the evening shifts. To travel today after dealing with all that stuff in the morning and making plans and preparations. So as we ended last session, your group was getting ready, I believe, to head towards the hex that the mall is in, which is directly south of you.
Yep.
If you look at the map, and then directly south of that is then the subway tunnel where the father's map leads to. So, I don't recall, did everybody, or do you want to take a moment, assuming to have done this in the morning shift, to go over your equipment and make sure that you have enough gear and you have everything you want to take with you?
I think I remember having done my equipment, and I'm pretty sure it's all done. Like.
Okay. Oh, I do also want to point out to all of you that the greenhouse is complete. You can start growing things. Also, 5 more bayonets were completed.
Nice.
Which will be, available in... I haven't added them to the stored gear yet, but I'll make an item for it. But I'll also point out for the projects, which are... Well, it shouldn't take 3 days. We'll say it takes 2 days, because 3 days is when the assault is going to take place. So we've got a couple of projects with people working on it for a portable spotlight. Because you know that the chuds that might be in the subway tunnel they don't like light. And then also a decision was made to make enough Molotovs so that everybody can be equipped with at least one in the assault force. So that's happening. I also added 100 non-perishable food to your food stores because that's what Kent and his people had, roughly. So I just called it 100. And then also I added 20 of each level of scrap, assuming that Kent's people had about that much amongst themselves for your stores, since Kent's people now have definitely joined you. They are a part of your group.
Okay. So what's the size of the group in total now?
In total, you're now at 31 souls.
31.
Oh, sorry, 32 if you count Fallout.
Thank you.
Yep.
Don't forget old good old Fallout. He's a good boy.
Yep. Who is doing much better today.
Good. I'm glad.
He's probably not good enough to travel with you now.
That was my next question.
For the scouting. He's still on the mend. But if you want, you can tell Kent or one of the people that's going to be coming with him, like, hey, if Fallout seems ready for the, for them to come for the assault, to bring him with.
One thing we need to do.
Or you can just have him stay at home.
We need to make sure everybody's got enough armor and weapons, because I noticed there's lots of weapons still sitting in the shop, like shotguns and rifles and combat rifles.
Yeah, I will tell you that Kent's fighters are well armed.
Yeah.
They're the people that he depended upon to do security and support for his group, so they don't need any of your gear.
Sweet.
They were happy to give over their share of food and all of their tech parts, right? But like gear-wise, they don't need any of your stuff.
Cool.
And none of his other people are going to come because they're non-combatants. Like I said, there's a few children. You met one of them, Molly. There's a few elderly people. And then there's a few people that might be able-bodied, but they're not really warriors. They're...
Just don't have it in them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they can do some scavenging and stuff, but you don't want to bring them into this.
They're just going to stand there and get killed. And I know the kind.
Right.
Not everybody's built
also, I'll remind you the decision was made because I mentioned that Kent's people had stuff to add to your stores, that nobody will be doing any scavenging until this is resolved, because you wanted to make sure that everybody was safe at home and that your home is defended and so on and so forth.
All projects can be completed in time, because we've got things going on still, right down to the last day. We've got things going on.
Right, I've got about 7 spare capacity if we want to take other stuff with us. Do I need to take a lantern with us? I've got a set of 3 torches, but should we take a lantern?
I've got a set of 3 torches also. You could take a lantern if you wanted, Tim.
You could do. You also, I want to point out to you that you do have...
the big portable headlight, hopefully.
Well, you're making one of those, but I wanted to point out that I thought there was a smaller, like, flashlight.
Somebody's got a flashlight.
There are 2 torches.
Yeah, there are. I've got one in my inventory.
Actually,
no, I've not.
5.
Sorry, Dave. I don't have one of them in my inventory. That's a torch, as in a thing with flames on it. Remember the Americans?
Fine.
It's a flashlight. It's a flashlight.
It's a flashlight.
Yeah. Our GM's American. It's not a torch. It's a flashlight.
I thought sure somebody had one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had 2.
But I'm not seeing
at least one anyway.
It might be on somebody else's character sheet if you want to check your side characters.
It's not on mine. Let's check on Craig.
Because there are 7 Type A batteries that we can say have been fully charged over time because you have a solar recharger.
Ruben has a torch.
A flashlight?
A flashlight.
Oh, so that's gone then. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if you do a little bit of side scavenging as you head south, maybe you'll find one. But... a lantern, you are going to be going underground, so a lantern might not be a bad idea if you've got the extra capacity just to have.
Shame we don't have a flashlight, because we've got batteries, but we've got binoculars, don't we?
I believe Abigail has night vision goggles that require a Type A battery.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make sure you've got enough batteries, Abigail.
We can say that she just swaps out one of hers with a fully charged one. So, yeah.
Charged.
One Type A battery is gonna power a night vision goggles essentially for an entire campaign, unless you're constantly wearing it and always have it turned on. Like,
no.
It's gonna last you quite a while. Same thing was if you have one with an electric torch or a flashlight, that's gonna last pretty much an entire campaign, as
And
long as you
actually,
have a charged battery.
Francisco also has a tactical flashlight.
Oh, Francisco has a tactical flashlight.
Yes.
Now, what
So
is Francisco doing? What's he going
If you want to take that off of his sheet and give it to someone with a Type A battery,
How long will the oil in a lantern last?
oil in
take
a
the oil
lantern. Yeah,
Do I need to
oil
take
in a
the oil can as
lantern
well?
lasts. Yeah, you probably want to, because that's only going to last like, we'll say a shift.
Yeah.
Once you light a lantern,
Fine.
a
Well,
torch
I'll take the
lasts
oil
a
can.
shift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I put the tactical flashlight into the auto repair shop gear list. So whoever wants it, it's there.
So if somebody wants to take the tactical flashlight, you need to take that and a Type A battery to power it.
Yeah, well, I'll put my torches back and take that, I think.
And it is a tactical flashlight, so if you have a weapon, you'll be able to attach it to your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Pistol,
Actually,
rifle,
I've got enough
shotgun.
space to take that.
Yeah,
and
pistol,
battery.
rifle. Probably not one of the crossbows, but a pistol or a rifle. Probably not
Yeah.
the shotgun either.
Is there
Because
a,
the
is
shotguns are almost all double barrels. They don't really have tactical rails.
do I need to do
That's
something
true.
to equip it to the gun, or do you just it's assumed that it's equipped on the gun?
Oh no, you could just assume that you have it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I've still got.
it's still going to have its encumbrance regardless.
So I've kept the torches. I've took the Type A battery and the tactical flashlight, and I still have a total of 5 space in my inventory, with food, with torches, with a camping kit, first aid kit, magazines for my gun, sleeping bag. I'm well kitted out and still have a little bit of space. But we're
Fair
not
enough.
going.
Same here. Let's
Should
we,
get
we
stuff,
need to
which will be
move
okay for
travel
space.
light anyway, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're on a scouting mission. Who are you leaving in charge of the group to organise the move to the Mall to meet with the Red Hand and with Kent's group?
Who's our options?
So what I would suggest is out of the NPCs that you have that I would say are fight worthy is probably just, I mean, if they bring Fallout, I don't.
I will suggest that Fallout not come because he's still not well.
Yeah.
Getting
well,
better.
not right now, but they might bring him if he's well enough, and if you guys decide you want him there, he might be ready in a few days. But that's up to you guys. Aside from that, I would say that so we don't want to use Kang, or basically we don't want to use any of your main characters. So none of them, but Carlos, possibly Sophie, Rosie. Those are basically the 3 NPCs you have, and they are all combat worthy if you want the 3 of them to come with
Sophia's
Kent's
young.
people.
Sophia's very young, but I would be trusting her with it at this point. I think we know her well. She's been with us since day one. She's never let us down. I would trust Sophia with it. What do you think, Tim?
You're the boss.
True, but I have advisors. That's what you're here for.
Yeah, but Tim hasn't been around very much
if
and
my
doesn't
wi-
really
if
know
it-
Sophia.
If my
I mean,
wisdom
you're
was as
Well,
prolific as my faith,
she
then I
worked.
wouldn't
She
need you.
seemed okay. So
Yeah.
Sophia was with the group that rescued Carlos and Rosie, so
Sophia
they'll
was Emma's
recognize
character.
her
She
as
was
being
in it at the
important.
start,
Yeah.
fine, put her in charge.
Yeah, I like
As
her.
long
She's,
as she can work together with Kent.
she's an NPC, but she was Emma's character, so she's an important NPC. She's elevated above
Yeah.
the rest
Oh, yeah.
of them, I think. I like her doing it.
And, you know, she's like 18, so it's fine.
Oh, she's a genius. Like she's no
Yeah,
dumb
she's
kid.
a genius.
She's
yeah.
no dumb kid. She's smart, and she's been surviving out here for 5 years since she was 13. So she's pretty.
Right.
She knows her shit. I'm happy to put important tasks in her hands. She's been good.
Okay,
Fine.
so, but since you're not going to have contact with anybody, I do want you to decide now, are they going to bring... So, first of all, are those 3 going to come with Kent's people, or are just Kent's people going to come?
Well, I'd suggest those 3 and Kent's people because we're pretty certain that
Yep.
we're looking at 30 to 50 hostiles.
Right.
Yeah,
Aren't
we're
we?
going to need the numbers.
Okay.
So we need the numbers.
So, them plus Kent's people, are they going to bring Fallout or not? or you
depends
just want him
on
to rest?
whether he's well enough.
Depends how well he is, and I think Fallout's got character these days. I think we've been with him for a while now. I think we would, somebody like Sophia, who we're leaving behind, who's then coming after, would see how Fallout is, because Sophia spent a lot of time with Fallout. She nursed him back to health. Maybe she would decide that as well. I'm quite happy with her to make that decision nearer the time.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got people in charge. You know people are going to stay. Even after they and Kent's people leave, you'll still have Kang and Craig and Francisco on site to keep guard and work with Francisco's people. Yeah, so
And Craig's there to fuck everything up for them.
right.
Have the 3 NPCs got enough gear and weapons? Do they need?
Oh,
kitting
yeah,
out
they'll-
at all?
No, there's loads.
They are currently, even without dipping into your stores, they are kitted out as fighters, so
Good.
they'll be fine. Yeah.
Right. So they'll be bringing the heavy torch and the Molotovs.
Uh-huh.
In the Molotovs.
Correct.
Good.
And
Fine.
perhaps the dog, perhaps.
Perhaps the dog now with armor, right? So
The dog's got
Mhm.
armor now, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh yeah, that was Kang, wasn't it? Superb, Kang, superb.
Yep.
Actual dog armor. Now that is a thing of beauty, folks. For a post-apocalyptic game, that is just touch of class. The dog's got armor. Well, he
Okay.
doesn't get any plot armor apparently with this guy, so he needs to get some sort of armor.
No.
He needs some armor.
Yeah, he needs something.
Nobody has plot armor.
Love it, mate.
The only plot armor I will give Fallout and your NPCs is that they don't die when they drop to 0. You have an opportunity to try to revive
Save
them.
them. Yeah.
Yep.
That just gives us more people to worry about. Great.
That's true. Yep.
Nah,
And then
love
you
it.
can feel the anguish even more if you don't make it to them in time and they pass
Oh,
before
yeah.
you can help. Yep.
Bring it on.
No.
Okay. So
Charlemagne, I'd suggest that we move down to the Mall and make sure that the suggested meeting point
It's
is
safe.
trouble-free.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
And
If
who
not,
exactly?
find another one and leave a message.
Who exactly
and
is in
then
our
carry on
initial
down.
strike force? In our initial party, is it just the 4 of us, or is there anybody else with us? I think it's just. The
I
4
think
of
it's
us,
just the
isn't
4
it?
of you is what you decided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
Okay.
What's the plan then, troops? Head down to the mall, see what's up there.
Head down to the Mall, check to make sure that the agreed rendezvous is trouble-free, and then carry on down and scout around
Oh,
the
yeah.
subway tunnel.
Yeah, I'm happy with a bit of
Entrance.
that. Let's do it.
Okay, so you only have 3 shifts left today. So it's going to take you 1 shift to move down into the hex with the mall.
Yep.
And you're not scouting the hex, so that I will say as a part of that shift, you can also find a suitable camping location near the mall, depending upon rolls, right?
Yep.
So who's going to make the roll to find a suitable camping location?
You're the
For a
survivalist,
large group of
Timothy, I
people.
think. Tim, I believe
Is
you are the
this,
survival role.
Survival, fair enough.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Based on wisdom.
That's your one, mate. 100%.
You're actively looking for a place. You could also use intelligence if you want, but wisdom is also allowed.
Do we have assists on this roll? On this game? I don't even remember.
You can assist people if you make a successful roll first, but a 14 is going to do it.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think the 14 doesn't.
So,
nice tip.
yeah, with a 14, you're able to find a. Again, you haven't really set foot in the mall yet, mainly because I never really finished it.
Never
So
made it yet.
it's like partly done, but it's a mall's a big place. I
So
had to make like 6 or 7 maps.
If we never use it, you can save it for a one-shot later, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Of course.
But we will say that in looking for a large enough place, since you're getting to, on the map, an area where there's some green, which means less developed areas, not quite as dense, I'll say that kind of right along that main road there, the Pablo Ricari, probably on the right-hand side of it as we're looking at the map, I'll say that you find a large warehouse that the roof is largely intact. There are a few holes here and there, but that's just good for campfires. The interior is not warm, obviously, because nothing is warm, but it's not full of snow. There are only a few entrances that you can potentially block or keep watch on. And there are a few small offices that are still intact that a small group such as yours right now can camp for the night relatively comfortably. But this will be a good place for everyone to camp as well. So the question is, how are you going to market for people? Because it is relatively close to the mall. We'll say it's like across the street from the mall.
I think the sensible thing would be, what do you reckon, Charlemagne? A red hand mark? They know that they've not scouted this.
Huh?
So
We
we
don't
will
want
notify them.
But we don't want to see them and think, oh no, that's not them, that's the red hand. Don't know if that's gonna work. How about
Well, you do still have some. You do still have some blue spray paint.
Yeah, how about a blue hand? How about a
Yeah.
cross? How about
I
the
don't
sign of the
think we-
cross?
Oh, a blue cross.
The sign of the
Yeah,
cross.
blue cross.
They're gonna know it's me if it's the sign of the cross, right?
And before we
well,
leave, we
yeah.
could let them know
Yeah.
that.
Well, you didn't know it was here. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will let you retroactively have grabbed the can of blue spray paint, so that you can say that you got that with you.
Okay.
Because that's like an incidental item. I'm not going to say it even takes encumbrance. So yeah, you can spray a big old blue cross on the front door of this.
Sign of the cross.
That should be a big enough sign for most folks.
They're gonna know who that is.
Okay. So you guys are able to sleep. You're going to need to consume a meal, everybody except for Tim.
2 seconds. Just writing my notes.
And whoever's keeping watch and in the first shift and second shift. But I guess I should make some encounter checks here. Now, you were moving carefully, were you not? You weren't moving quickly, still moving carefully?
Always.
Okay. So, no encounter on your travel. Oh, wow. But we do have an encounter overnight. Let's see when overnight that encounter happens.
Oh, this game is good to us, like. It's never a dull moment.
Okay. So, who takes first shift? Who takes second shift?
Charlemagne likes to get up early, so he will take the first shift. Or is that
Okay.
No, have I got that
I'll-
backwards? Have I got that wrong? Yeah, I've got that wrong.
No,
He
you got
likes
it
to
right.
get up early, so I take the. Yeah, no, I've got that right. So I take the first shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the second shift.
Okay, so Tim is on watch on the second shift. Excellent.
I'll take
We've
the first
barricaded ourselves into a relatively safe location, yes?
Yep,
Warehouse.
you have.
Fine, in that case I'll arm myself with my axe.
Okay. You know what? Now that I have the core book, let's roll an encounter from there.
Yeah, well, any books this month actually. There's the thing. I might have to get this. Like, it's such a cool game.
I got the PDF of it now.
Yeah, it was funny. By the time I saw that message, you were like, "Hey, do you have?" Never mind. I bought it.
Yeah.
And I'll remind everyone, both who's playing and people who may be watching later date, that the book is free
It's free.
in PDF.
The main version is
You
free.
can pay for the deluxe version that has a few more bits on it and you can also have the deluxe edition printed. But the core game itself is free.
Everything you need to play the game is free online, folks.
Yep.
Check it out. Ashes Without Number by Kevin Crawford. It's a hell of a game. We love it.
Oh yeah.
Really fun. Brian's wrote an excellent story in it, but the game, the system is fantastic. Fantastic. Just so many boogeymen.
Oh, that's really funny because that's the one I was actually looking at. Okay. So, it's early in the morning. It's very quiet. Maybe there's some creaking sounds of metal. You're in a large warehouse that's, seen some disuse. It's still relatively intact, but I'm sure there's a bit of settling and fighting against the weight of some of the snow on the roof and the winds. The winds are pretty low tonight, though. The snow is still falling, of course. But the winds are low enough for you to hear, Tim, a drone. Just a mechanical humming that seems to resonate, possibly even with some of the metal in the warehouse that you're currently camping in. Seems to be above you.
Does it sound like a mechanical drone or an animal type drone?
Oh, that's a good question. I think with your knowledge of nature, I'll go ahead and rule out animal for you. It does not sound animal. It's too steady. It's too persistent. There's no variance in it. It's not biological.
Okay. Did I just notice it at a particular point, or have I noticed it gradually increasing in volume? In other words, did it just taken off, or have I just become aware of it increasing in volume?
No, you've just become aware of it increasing in volume. It's not like you heard it go from nothing to full.
So it's approaching from a distance. I will arouse the others and kind of symbol for quiet. Possible mechanical drone coming.
Now, this warehouse does have an upper level. It's kind of open. There is, you haven't searched it out, but there are some exterior doors you probably would have walked around it at least. You guys are pretty careful. So yeah, that there's an exterior door on the kind of second level catwalk, very similar to the place that you were in with the cattle, the makeshift farm.
And
but
we know there's holes in the roof.
There's holes in the roof, but there's also on that exterior door, there's a bit of a gantry outside the warehouse as well, and you recall seeing a ladder up to the roof. So there is roof access. If you would like to make for it, or if you want to wait and see if, as you said, if it is some kind of a mechanical drone, if it comes inside or not. But it's up to you. You can hear it coming. It's not over top of you yet, but it is above.
Okay. We have a fire. I'll quickly root around. Do we have? Is there something like a piece of corrugated or iron or something that I can use to mask the fire from the holes in the roof? In other words, to block any infrared. Okay. Yeah. So I will try and block any infrared and light from being visible through the roof, just in case somebody's scouting with a proper drone.
Yeah. So go ahead and make a sneak test for me with intelligence.
Not my best skill, says Tim Nice.
You're the one who said it.
I believe in you.
Does anybody want to help him?
Yeah, well, I woke up when he's woke me up. I will try and help him in the hunt to find something, yeah.
Okay, well,
I've
Tim
had a
called
walk
the
around, I
action,
know
so
what's
he's going to
going
make the roll, but I'll let you make a sneak test with intelligence to assist.
Sneak intelligence to assist. Right. I don't have sneak, so it's untrained there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, rubbish roll. 4.
So no bonus from the assistants.
Oh, dear.
Okay.
It's not like you, Dave.
So
Nope.
the two of you rush to try to create some kind of masking over your fire.
And fail.
Fail.
Well.
The question is whether or not it's looking for that. We don't know.
Right.
I'm just paranoid.
But are you staying inside the warehouse? Are you going to go outside? Is anybody going to go up to the roof?
It could be the Red Hand scouting it out. If they have drone capability, who knows? But probably best if we don't go and expose ourselves.
Okay.
In here,
inside.
we're at least undercover and we're not emitting any infrared or anything like that. So
Sure.
I'd say stay in here.
Even if we could get behind and get hidden behind something, if we find something to hide behind, hide under, I think we should.
Okay. So
Wake the others up.
you very quickly, after attempting to mask the fire and so forth, you see some light filtering in through the holes in the roof, possibly some kind of spotlight, something like that. Not super powerful, but essentially they're not running lights. They're probably like a small spot attached to maybe a camera or something like that, you would imagine. And you see it fly overhead, and you see the kind of light filtering down through the holes in the roof. Once it, probably because you can't see it, has traversed the length of the warehouse, you hear it come back, and you see again the light kind of just shining down through the holes in the roof. And then you hear it descend. And at this point, Sorry, go ahead.
I'm readying my rifle and taking aim at that opening.
Okay. Well, it traverses all the way back, so now it's in the front of the warehouse.
Mhm.
And you hear it getting louder, which to you indicates that it's descending. And at this point, I would say that you're all fairly certain, even if you've had limited interaction with them, that this is a man-made mechanical drone. It's got the whir, it's got the buzz. You can even hear something kind of pelting the front door of the warehouse. That it may be like just snow and ice kicked up by its and you hear it, and you get the sense that it's sitting like right in front of the front doors.
Mhm.
And then it ascends again from the sound. It gets softer, and it travels away from you, roughly along the main road, kind of to the north.
To the north.
Okay. The front doors, of course, where we kind of painted that big blue cross.
Uh-huh.
So possibly it was a drone from the Red Hand sent to scout the area. Who knows?
Could be.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be foe. That could be friend.
But yeah, if you wait a few more minutes, you don't hear anything else. It seems to have completely left the area. You can't hear it at all anymore. And I'm sure your companions would like to get back to their beauty sleep to
I will
finish
get
out
them
their...
get back to sleep. Yes.
Okay.
And I will melt some snow for their jerky stew in the morning.
I will sleep
Okay.
with the safety off.
And eventually,
Sorry,
probably
I'm sorry.
with the...
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I will reach over and put the safety on.
Once he's snoring,
idea.
just,
Yes.
click. But yeah, it's the light begins to filter in through all the cracks and holes in the warehouse, and you don't really feel the warmth of the sun, but you're pretty sure it's rising. And it is now March 1st.
Right. Well, let's march south.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's not a leap year then.
It is not a leap year.
So we have today and tomorrow to get back to the mall, correct?
Yeah. We're gonna check out the mall. That's where we were meeting them, wasn't it?
Yep. No, we said we'd meet in the mall.
Around.
We found this
Kind
area
of somewhere
next.
around, yeah.
We found this area next to the mall and spray painted it.
So hopefully we'll find.
So this is the meet point.
Yeah.
So we have today to head south and scout. Tomorrow to finish scouting and get back to this warehouse.
Get back to the warehouse at the mall. Yeah.
So let's head south and go into sneak mode.
Scout away, my
For
friend.
real.
Scout away. That's your thing.
Okay. South we go. Now we've seen one subway tunnel entrance to the north in that area we scouted. So assuming they use similar means of construction, that should hopefully give us an idea of what to look for around this subway tunnel. And we will just have to watch for things out of the ordinary in places where people might be hiding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, still approaching carefully the whole time.
Oh,
Good.
yes.
Oh yeah.
So as you head to the south,
Well, let's check
Again,
outside the front door before we leave.
Oh,
see
okay.
whether it may have spray painted something on the doors itself. We don't know what this thing was.
Okay. Well, as you go outside, I mean, you can see where it was kind of hovering. It looks like it was hovering directly in front of the blue cross that you've painted on the door, based on the kind of a, not blast, but you know what I mean, with the
Yep.
downward
Snow, yeah.
thrust of the.
Yep.
So there's an indication that it was sitting there for, the minute or so that it did. It did not add anything to the door. But it seems to have been right at that height of that blue cross that you painted.
Yeah.
Well, someone saw it and chose not to attack us, so if it's someone who knows who we are and saw it, it's not our enemy. So I don't feel too bad about it.
Well-
I think it might be the Red Hand.
Well, I mean, could I tell which direction the drone had approached from?
It was traveling at height, so
Yep.
it's
Difficult
you
to
know,
tell.
It left to the
yeah,
north,
it sounded like though it headed to the north as it left.
which is the
Yes,
hospital
but-
direction, isn't it?
But I had no
Yeah.
indication of where it came from.
No.
Oh no, you would say that you heard it come from that direction as well.
Right. Okay. Fine. So yeah. So it's unlikely to belong to the father sent north to check and see what he can see on the way up to go and investigate.
Correct. In
Or
addition to that, I think Charlemagne and Abigail would at least recognize that the father didn't seem to have, at the time when they first encountered him, an abundance of technology, as it were. They seemed very non-technical.
Fair enough. Okie doke.
Not like our
In that
friends
case-
at the hospital who have got surface-to-air missiles.
Right.
Yeah.
Working surface to air
Working
missile.
surface-to-air missiles, yeah.
Okay. So head south into the next hex and scout. Let's see what we find.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm trying to keep up with my notes here. So you travel into the hex with the subway tunnel.
We hope nothing happens on that first shift of travel.
Yep, takes you about a shift to get there. You're being careful. You're not
Yes,
exposed. So travel is fine. And indeed, as I said, since you're in kind of the light green area, there's less dense in terms of buildings, ruins, things like that here. It's still the city, right? It's not like you're in grasslands or anything, but you're moving into an area where there are large buildings or the ruins of large buildings with large lots in between them. Maybe a couple of green spaces here and there, but nothing large enough, for example, to show up on this map. You do at one point cross what appears to be some kind of, or would once have been, some kind of canal. That the large road that you're kind of following to the south, I'm assuming you're following the road, maybe to the side of it, if not on it. But that crosses over top of it
somewhere, isn't it?
Right. And you, I will say that at this point you've also identified where the tracks are for an above ground rail in this area, which seem to also be heading south. So it looks like this was probably largely an industrial area, factories, refineries, things like that have fallen into ruin, warehouses. So you see quite a bit of that. Lots of large mounds covered in snow, which, aside from the smaller mounds that you tend to see back in the more dense urban areas, probably are trucks and trailers as opposed to just vehicles, cars, And I mean the big trucks, like semis, not just like the pickup trucks that people might drive.
As we would say in the UK, a lorry.
Or a lorry, yeah, exactly.
So potential source of scrap for getting vehicles into working order here.
Potentially, yeah. If you were to dig some of them out and try to scrap them, take time, but yeah, potentially.
Might be something usable in between all of them, yeah.
Right. And on the tracks themselves, not always on the tracks, sometimes fallen off to the side, occasionally what might be like a train car, like a freight train car and so forth.
Okay. While we're traveling along then, keeping an eye out for areas which might have been used for as tracks, walking tracks. Yes, it's snowing all the time, but if people were continually walking up and down a particular route, they would have beaten out down the snow into ice, and it would be a dip. So watching out for that type of thing. If there's an overhead track, when we hit an access ladder or walkway, nip up and check to see whether that track itself is being used as an access route.
Interesting.
Okay. That's that. If it's not, I mean, we might be able to use it as an access route for getting in there without being observed at ground level.
Right. Well, there is in a couple of points the track does kind of become overhead by necessity because of the layout of the land, and sometimes the land dips more and they try to keep the track level, so what is ground level then kind of extends into kind of an overpassing track, and there's a depressed area of, again, probably lots and things. You think you spot maybe a junkyard at some point, but as far as signs of passage, I'll say you see lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not necessarily going in any one direction, Right. So you're probably seeing animals moving around. It's possible you're seeing groups of people. If you want to see if you can identify, I'm going to make this is going to be a difficult survival test to try and see if you can identify if there was a large group of people passing through.
Okay.
I'm going to try and assist, because I've got a bit of knowledge about what a large group of people looks like now, because I've collected one. I'm making, so what was it, survival?
Survival plus intelligence. Wisdom is also fine.
Is wisdom fine, is it? Because that's better for me. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so Tim's going to get a +1.
+1 on yours, Timmy.
All right.
Oh, he's got it.
So, yeah, you see what could be some larger groups, but they don't. It's difficult to say. No indication of anybody using any of the elevated sections or the road itself as a travel way. But also at this point, I would say that, technically you're spending so much time doing this, that taking the morning shift to get here, the afternoon shift. Are you scouting this hex?
Not
Or
the
are you
hex
just
itself,
scouting
it's
the
just
area?
It's as we're going south, I'm
Yeah.
looking for signs on our route
So we're
south.
scouting the road
Sure.
area. The road
Because-
area, road into the sides of it, yes, we're scouting, just not the whole hex. We're not trying to cover the hex.
Yeah.
We are
Sure.
scouting
I mean,
the area we're covering.
I mean, the
Okay.
impression I'm getting is that this track goes underground at that point,
Right.
and so that the tunnel is, is to the south of that point.
Sure.
Is
So-
that correct?
Do you think?
Kind of.
Do you think on this
If
map
you-
that
if you-
line there is actually the subway line? You see that line that I'm
No,
talking
the
about?
subway lines aren't actually shown.
No, they're not. Okay.
Yeah, that's surface.
Ow.
So, if you're just focusing on getting to and checking the area around the subway tunnel, I will say that you can do that as a part of your travel for this hex. If you want to try to find other methods of ingress, that would take scouting the hex itself. But-
well, that was one thing we're going to do when we got there. The
We are
first thing
looking
was
Right.
to have a look at the tunnel itself, and
Yeah.
then try to find other means to get into it.
So what I will tell you is, as you close on the subway tunnel, the location marked on his map, right around midday, you notice a few things. First of all, you do become aware relatively easily tracks, not recent, but like you said, an indication that people have passed through because it has been filled in, of a large number of what appear to be bipedal people, so people. How long ago would be difficult to say, but it's been some time, right? And they move into, they kind of thread throughout and move between. It maybe even looks like maybe they're searching the freight cars, but also there are some subway cars, because the overhead track that shows up here is a freight track, and that track continues south. It splits off and continues south on the surface. What heads down into the tunnel, based upon the fact that there is a carriage that's probably halfway in and halfway out of the tunnel at this point, is the subway or the tramways,
Domestic line.
right? So correctly, so the travel for people, and so
commute. That's
that
the
is
words,
what the
that's
subway
commuters.
seems to be.
Okay.
Now,
I didn't say this to Charlemagne at the time, but I don't trust this father one iota. Telling us that he's in the subway tunnel could well just be an invite into a trap where he's actually somewhere else. So,
Oh, 100
one of the reasons I was
to be.
we're expecting to be a trap. The question is whether he's actually down in the subway tunnel, or whether he's just arranged that as a trap and he's occupied an area nearby which overlooks it.
He's 100% going to do that. So what we need to do is find where that area is likely to be, and where we can then overlook him from with our other people. You're 100% right, and he's 100% going to do that. I've got no doubt in my mind that this devil is going to do that.
So, the tunnel itself goes down, and is it a single track tunnel or is it twin track?
Oh, it's twin track, at least where it enters the tunnel. Yeah.
Okay.
If you
Sorry.
if you aim, like if say for example, if we're Abigail were to pull out the torch and aim it into the tunnel, you can see kind of at the distance of maybe the light of a torch or also the light of day behind you, that it's not long before the tunnel does split into 2 single-track tunnels.
Yeah.
Probably indicating that for however long these tunnels go, there's a space in between them for either maintenance areas or stations, as it were.
Right. Did we
but
pass a surface station further in this hex so far?
Yeah, you would have. You would have. Probably close to the mall.
Right.
Makes sense.
Okay. I didn't think to check, but we could have had a look at the subway map there and possibly... I mean, do we have anything with the subway map on it or not?
I don't think we have a subway map.
No, we don't have a subway map, but for the purpose of the game, and that makes a lot of sense, I think you probably would have thought that as well. I will say that, yes, if you had wanted to, you could have broken open the display and
the map. There would be a subway
taken
map at the
the
mall.
subway map.
Yeah.
To kind of give you an idea.
Does that show where the next station is?
Well, I'm going to show you.
Oh.
So, what color am I working with right now? Red's good
Because
enough, I think.
the next station would be an ideal spot for him to set up shop, because he's got access to the surface and control of both tunnels at the time.
Alright. So I'm setting here a little bit.
Got a station there.
No. Okay. So there's an indication that there's a station, probably, in rough distances, maybe a kilometer into the tunnel.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, looking at the outside of the tunnel entrance itself, do there look to be obvious places that could be used as hides,
Yeah,
as
we look around what's around
bunkers?
Well, like I said, if you want to do that much scouting in the hex, you're going to need to spend the shift scouting the
us.
hex.
We're gonna have to, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
Do we have a spare shift
Okay.
that we can? We do, don't we?
Well, we've taken a shift to move into the hex.
Into the hex.
So we're in the second.
And find the general locations of things. But if you want to start scouting the hex, that's going to take the next shift.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which will take
Okay.
you to dusk. And I will say, even though you've only half scouted the hex at this point, you were focusing primarily on this edge of the hex where the subway tunnel is. I would say that as you look around, you can see some areas that could potentially be hides. I mean, a subway tunnel entrance by its nature is going to begin to dip and be in a depression to begin with. So there is kind of an overhead space. You look around up there, there's some roads, again, lots, some ruined buildings. You don't really see any indication here of them setting up any kind of exterior defenses.
Right. So.
Or observation points.
I reckon, Charlemagne, the best bet would probably be to investigate that station entrance.
Mhm.
Because
And
that
put
will
them
give
up.
access from the surface.
Yep.
And if they are set up between there and the tunnel entrance, we can come back on them. If not, we're not tracking through a long distance of tunnel, open to fire. So I'd suggest that we investigate that station entrance.
You're the man.
Yeah.
You're the man when it comes to these decisions. When it comes to where we track and where
Okay.
we look. Absolutely.
So I would suggest that we've come to the end of that shift, correct?
Yeah.
When we get that decision. So we find somewhere to stay the night there, check this tomorrow morning, and then head back up to the mall.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a survival test to find a suitable place to camp.
Again, assisting.
Oh, I should have done an encounter check while you were scouting
True.
as
Encounter
well.
check for
Yeah,
scouting.
go ahead.
Okay, you're fine.
Okay, I'll make an
That's a
assist
relief.
again. Am I able to roll on wisdom again? Survival wisdom.
To assist? Yeah,
My
you can.
assist. I should roll on charisma. I should cheer him up. I got a 4.
Oh, no bonus.
Never
for
mind.
Tim.
No bonus. Should have rolled on charisma. He's fine. He
Yeah,
he
you
doesn't
find
need
a-
bonuses.
You find a decent enough place. Are you going to do a cold camp or a hot camp?
I think cold camp tonight. We don't want to give any indication. We know that he's got creatures that roam at night.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
Agreed.
Now, did you want your camp to be in view of the subway tunnel itself?
Well, in view of any entrances into the station, if possible. But given that we haven't seen any tracks coming out of the subway tunnel, I don't think there's any point.
All right. I will be kind and say that this station is technically in your hex. So,
Okay.
we'll say that you were able to find a place that is close to that station because you're technically in this hex.
Yep.
The station appears to be open. Well, there would be a gate covering it, I think, that we'll say has fallen, but it looks like it could probably be lifted. But the gate is closed.
Right. Well, we shall keep an eye out for comings
Okay.
and goings to that station
Fair enough.
overnight, as
So-
well as keeping an eye on people trying to find us.
Right. So we'll do an
Have
overnight
we
check.
Have we got night vision goggles with us
Yes.
or not?
Abigail has.
Yeah,
his.
Abigail has them.
In that case, whoever is on watch would use those night vision goggles to keep an eye on the station entrance, because whatever comes out of it isn't going to be using light.
And just keep an eye around. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so whoever's on watch, I will say that throughout your shift in the night, you don't see any activity at the station. Instead, what you discover, well, discover's the wrong word. What you experience is the sounds of screeches, some of which are familiar because you've all encountered the abominations that attacked you that one night, chuds as you were calling them. You hear some of them screeching in the distance. From your location at the entrance to the subway, the secondary subway tunnel entrance you found, we will say, what is this? Oh, that's how you got there. Okay. We will say that you hear these noises to the north of you, kind of in the direction of the main subway tunnel entrance itself. And then you hear throughout the night, occasionally you hear these screeches. You might even, because this is a much more open space, hear what could be some muffled human type shouts. Like yelling or you know, just kind of over a large span, very far from you. Not anything you need to worry about. And then in addition to that, I don't know if Tim keeps watch at some point in the night as well, but you hear different screams that if it were Tim keeping watch at any point, would definitely sound like animals of some kind.
Well, I am going to keep a watch because Charlemagne's basically stuck me in charge of.
Right.
Survival,
this-
yes, survival,
yes.
that's you. Faith, that's me.
so in
Faith
that
and
case-
hope, that's me. Survival, that's you.
Can I use my knowledge skill to try and identify what they were?
Sure.
Okay. So is that using my intelligence to deduce or wisdom to remember or what?
Whichever one is better for you. It's up to you.
Nice, Steve, nice.
I believe that's the lesser spotted hyena, but it sounds as though it's mutated slightly.
That's definitely a young female.
Not hyena, but you do. Yeah, I'm not a specialist on
No. South American
animals that live around Brazil, so I'm just gonna make some stuff up. You do hear what you think maybe are some foxes, making noises of pain. Maybe they've been trapped or caught. You hear what you're fairly certain is some kind of deer species. And then maybe like a cattle, something like a cattle at one point.
Oh, the cattle are hunting.
No, don't. Yeah, the cows are hunting.
Either that or could be those chuds are out looking for food. When we heard the chuds, can I get some ideas to the direction of them, or is it just random all over the area sort of thing?
Oh no, it's definitely north of you, and you think the first time you heard them, it was kind of from the location of the subway entrance.
Right. Okay. So nothing else happens during the night? I suggest we have an early breakfast and get started at first light.
Did you do -1 food again?
Yes, everybody except him, subtract the food supply.
And then I suggest we scout the subway entrance, and then as we go back north, check around the tunnel entrance to look for chud tracks, and then get back up to the mall. So,
Okay.
if possible, we'll spend a shift scouting around the subway and the station entrance.
Sure.
And then, as
Do you
I
want
said,
to go into it at all?
well, if there's no signs of tracks, yes.
Okay. Well, I'll let you get the scout done first, as part of the first shift, right? So, for the dawn shift, you pull your stuff together really quick and you start scouting. I'm gonna go ahead and do an encounter check for that. Uh-oh.
Oh, weather's not good.
Uh-oh.
I know
This might cause some problems.
this could be a spanner
Oh,
in
yeah,
the works. You know,
because-
the weather,
because-
man, the weather.
Well, there's parties heading south at the moment, so it would catch them as well.
Uh-huh.
Freak
Oh, no!
lightning storm.
Freak lightning storm. Any character not undercover and in the open for more than a turn has a 2 in 6 chance of getting struck by lightning.
Shit.
Once each hour. If
Ooh.
struck, they must make a physical save or die. If they
Save
succeed, their system
or
strain is
die.
maximized and they are knocked unconscious. So,
There's the
there
magic
is a
words,
storm.
guys. Save or die.
So is it first thing in the morning?
it is...
How long after dawn does it actually start?
Right. So I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna
Because
say
we
that
won't
it
know until
starts. Right. I'm gonna say that it starts as you're moving about, as you begin scouting.
Yeah.
So the choice is: do you take cover, which I think you'll be able to do fairly easily because it's only a once per hour roll, or do you want to risk it and continue scouting the hex
Risk it for the
with the
biscuit.
possibility?
No,
Or
no.
the save to die, save or die. Save or die. You want us to risk it
I
for
mean,
the
even
biscuit on that?
even if you succeed, it's not good. If you pass the save, your system strain is maximized and you are knocked unconscious.
I don't fancy
This-
being hit by lightning.
This
I
is
don't fancy it
covering
either.
this area.
It's only
of
a
the
2
city
in 6 chance.
2 and
for
6.
each person.
I'd rather wait the 4 hours to get it and let it go by.
For each of
That's
us.
a
Okay,
3%
So a 1 in
chance,
3
you know.
chance, and there's 4 of us. So those odds are not
Well,
good.
no,
boys.
hang on. This is not just covering this hex. This is covering this area of the city, correct?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
we need
Any
time.
delay we suffer is also
Everybody
gonna be
else is going to
by
suffer.
the large
Yeah.
group coming south. So any delay in us getting to the mall, that is going to be understandable. So we take cover.
Because I will tell you, they will take cover. Okay.
Of
Oh,
course.
100%
Yeah,
we're
so
taking cover,
when
100%.
when a weather effect hits, it affects essentially the entire map, because it's regional weather, right? And
Yeah.
obviously the map is quite a bit larger than just the area that you're in.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
cover, 100%.
So you all take cover. That means you're going to lose this shift. Essentially, the majority of the shift is going to be this lightning storm.
Is it? Duration?
Yeah,
4 hours.
4. It was already
No,
rolled.
What? Ah, right. Fine.
That's an automatic roll in the window. Yeah,
Okay,
it's 4
fair enough.
hours. So
Okay.
I think 4 hours out of a 6-hour shift means you've lost the shift.
Ruins the shift.
We've
Yeah.
effectively lost the shift.
Yeah.
Can't
Okay,
complete
that's fine.
Now, what I will do instead, to give you an option to be active during this shift, you won't be able to use it towards scouting this hex. But do you want to take shelter in the subway station?
Well, if we had made it to the subway station, we would.
Oh yeah, you were overlooking the subway
He's
station.
dying for us to go in there, guy. He is dying for us to go in there.
Okay.
Metagaming aside.
We'll take shelter in the subway station.
Yes, let's take shelter.
So I will tell you that
Providing there's no obvious signs of it being a trap.
What could
Right,
possibly go wrong, boys? What could possibly
So-
go wrong?
as the winds come up and as the storm rolls in, and you can feel that kind of prickliness of a lightning storm that some of you have maybe felt before. You smell the ozone. You're able to get a better look at the station, and you find a couple of things immediately. First of all, the gate, as I said, is rolled down. You don't know if it's locked or anything yet. Obviously, you haven't tried it, but it is rolled down. There's no indications of tracks outside the gate, and it is kind of like one of those wire mesh gates, so snow has gotten through it and kind of piled up inside the entrance as well. There's no indication of tracks inside it either. So your thought is that this has probably nobody's been through here in a while.
Jolly good. In that case, I think we will attempt to find a way through that gate without making large amounts of noise.
Okay. So
Is there a personnel entrance? Because the gate is the public entrance. Is there a personnel entrance?
oh, that's a good question. So as the storm continues to build, I will give you a quick notice check. All of you can make a notice check to see if you can find a secondary entrance that is not through the gate.
Notice
Okay,
wisdom or
okay.
intelligence, or just whatever's better.
Either one. Yeah, whichever's better. Wisdom or intelligence.
That's a 9 for me. 8 for Abigail. 7 for Jacob. Ooh, and a 7 for
Okay.
Ken.
So yeah, Charlemagne and Abigail pretty quickly notice kind of off to the side. It is partially like a bit of a snowdrift is built up on it, but you see what looks like kind of a metal emergency door, maybe, that doesn't have a handle on this side.
Yeah, like a fire door.
Yeah, like a fire door.
Push it out the way, on the way out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, with one of the, I know exactly what you mean. It's got one of those little kind of push down handles, like a
Yep.
bar you push down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you mean. And it's big, thick.
The good
metal
news is-
frame thing.
It does appear to be cracked open.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
Let's check that out then. Those things are thick and metal reinforced, aren't they? Those are big doors, like.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're heavy.
No signs of tracks outside that.
Again, no signs of tracks. And
Okay.
as you're noticing this, a bolt of lightning hits nearby,
Ooh,
hard enough that you can feel the thunder through the ground
shit.
and the hairs on any of your exposed skin stand up.
I think it's time to try and force that door open.
It's time to get in there, boys. Let's get inside there.
So you can just, it's cracked. So I mean,
Yeah.
there is a snowdrift kind of piled up against it. So what I'm going to require is I'm going to need one of you, maximum two of you, because of the size of the door and the space you need to open it, is going to need to make an effort test to pull it open.
Is that
It's
an
like
Effort, it'll be effort strength. If you don't have effort, then you're having to roll untrained.
That might be Abigail.
Is it effort or exert? Are those? Or are
Oh
those
no, I'm so sorry, Tim. You're right.
Yeah.
It's exert. It's
Yeah.
exert.
Yeah, I got exert, so I got that.
I don't have exert, so this is on.
So
you.
I need two of you can do it. One person can roll to assist. One person can roll primary. It's up to you who does what.
I've strength 14 and effort, so I'm net +1, so I'm happy to assist if somebody's stronger than me.
I got a 17, but it's like I got a 0 in it. So
So have I. Okay, I will.
So
assist.
you're both net +1, I think, right? Or
Yeah.
no, Jacob would be net +2, right? No, +1. That's right.
yeah,
Okay, so 8. That's a +1. So Jacob can roll with +2. Well, add a +1 because your +1 is already going to be figured in if you
oh yeah.
enter it correctly.
Oh,
Okay, so you go to pull this thing open, and as both of you are straining to pull it open far enough that the four of you can kind of just sidle inside, I'm going to have both of you take a point of system strain as you put your back into it and pull something a little bit as you get it barely open far enough that you guys can sidle in sideways.
Did you hurt yourselves? But good effort, team. Good effort.
Let's get you out of this lightning storm,
Let's get
everybody.
us out of this.
So you guys rush into the station. Well, not rush. Squeeze, sidle.
We rush
Push your
into
way
into
in.
the passageway, which is dark.
Yeah. It is dark.
Yeah, I may switch on.
Obviously,
I'm gonna
there's
switch
no
on the
power.
flashlight here.
You do have a flashlight, whoever's carrying that. Abigail can always throw on her night vision goggles, but you don't want to do that with there's a flashlight on.
So.
No.
Flashlight. Do I just click equip and that's it on? Yeah.
Yeah, you can just basically turn it on whenever you want to. Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna put it in equip because that means I've got no space in it.
Yeah,
to
don't.
do that.
Yeah, you don't have to put it in equipped.
Okay. So I switch on.
Okay,
the
so-
flashlight. But it is attached.
Because you have the combat rifle, right? You can just strap it to your combat rifle.
Yeah,
I've got a
combat
bayonet
rifle
on
be
it, so it's
easy.
gonna have to. It's got two mods now. I've got 2 mods on my
Right.
combat rifle. Double. So the torch, I guess, would be.
Yeah, it's just a
bayonet
quick like
underneath.
clip onto the rail, and you've got it. Does
Yeah,
anybody else want to light a lantern or a torch or
Well,
anything like
I
that?
was going to suggest somebody carries this lantern, and I will carry my axe.
Somebody with a one-handed weapon want to carry a lantern?
well, I technically got a spear and a bow, so
I mean, you can carry the lantern. You can always set it down before you end up
Okay.
using
Yeah,
something.
that's fine. I mean, could I just tie it on my waist? Just.
Nah, they're not really that kind of lantern. It's not that
Ah.
that helpful. It's just got a handle on the top, and it's kind of bulky.
I think as we open this door and as we go down into the darkness, I think this is when Charlemagne will say it'll kind of start off under his breath, but then he'll be close enough to his companions that they'll probably hear him, and this is when he will start to say Psalm 23, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He lies me down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. And yea, though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. My rod, my staff, they comfort me." Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. "You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows."
Are you coming along, Charlemagne?
I'm coming. He's walking and
Good,
talking.
good.
He's saying that as he's walking.
He's
I think.
walking.
Yeah.
He's walking and
talking.
Oh, sorry, I
praying.
thought he'd stopped and he was reading it from his breviary.
No, he's walking and praying. Walking and praying. Just muttering quietly. You can hear him though, because we're very close and it's quiet.
Fair enough.
So, as you all move deeper into this subway station, you can hear Charlemagne muttering, not loudly, but enough that you can hear him.
Clearly.
It might be an issue if anybody's trying to be sneaky, but for now, you hear him saying his prayer, and you head into the dark. And I think that's probably a good place for us to take a quick break, right?
Yeah. Perfect timing.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're back for part 2.
All right. So when we left off, you were entering an apparently locked and abandoned terminal for the subway system. This one is a little bit further down the line than the subway tunnel that you found, and you've managed to get inside through essentially a fire door and an emergency escape door, as the grating was actually closed on the tunnel, or on the station, I should say. So moving into the fire escape corridor, you open it up, and there is, it connects pretty much instantly to the main area, where you can still see some of the light from outside flashing and as lightning strikes hit. As I said, some snow has filtered in through the grating that covers the kind of fully open front entrance area. You can see some turnstiles and some dead ticket machines. And then beyond those, this is a fairly simple station. You see a hall. It looks like there are some vending machines there, and then some stairs that descend down into the darkness.
Any signs of habitation tracks?
Not that you can see, no.
Are the
Go
vending
ahead.
machines still full? Because that would definitely show you that there's nobody's been here if the vending machines are still full.
Well, I mean, if you want to head that way and take a look at them, you can.
I would like to have a little peek at them, see if there's anything in them.
Okay.
I expect nothing.
Yeah, the vending machines are still full. Well, the one that has what looks to be like candies and snacks in it, that one is still full. The soda machines, it's difficult to say.
Now. What do you think about busting it open and taking some of these candies, boys? That'd be a nice treat if we survive this.
Is there a lift, or is this purely a stair station? No, I mean, if it's a deep station, there'd be a lift. If there isn't,
Yeah,
it
so-
would just be stairs.
No, that's fair. And the lift, actually, the doors to the lift are, as you look at the candy machines, is directly behind you. Recessed a little bit into the wall, so you didn't see it initially when you were looking at the vending machines. But you can see clearly there's 2 elevators there. Or no, I'm sorry. It would just be one, I think, at the station. But the elevator does look relatively large, and there is very clearly a a handicap sign on the side of the elevator above the button, indicating that it's primarily for the use of people with wheelchairs and mobility support and so forth.
But presumably, you can find the escape stairs as well.
Yes. Well, I mean, there wouldn't be escape stairs. The subway itself has the stairs.
That's where we came in.
It wouldn't have a separate escape stairwell. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay, are there any other possible routes that they might be using for access, such as drop ceilings or anything? If they've got a air conditioning or anything for the lower platforms, there might be something hung from the roof that they could be travelling through. I'm just trying to see whether or not there is no use of this station, or whether they're hiding their use of the station.
No, I gotcha. I mean, as you look up, I mean, it looks like it probably is a drop ceiling. There probably is some HVAC there, but it doesn't look like any of it is what's the word I'm looking for? Compromised at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's a cosmetic type ceiling rather than a structural type ceiling.
Like the one you would
Correct.
get in the supermarket.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't look as though this is actually being used by whatever's down in the
No, it doesn't.
It does actually look empty. Well, we're here
Right,
until the storm finishes, at least.
Agreed. If we've... Can we get access to any of the officers to see if they've got a plan of the service tunnels, etc., on the wall?
So again, this is a relatively small station, so it doesn't actually have offices or anything like that. It quite literally, for lack of a better term, this almost looks like an escape route station. Like they added it in as an escape route for if there was a problem on the line. But since they added it in as an escape route, they added it as a ticketing station as well. So like, there's no ticketing offices. There were essentially like ticketing kiosks where you would buy a ticket before going through the turnstiles. And like I said, there's almost no amenities here. There's not even a bathroom at this station. It's just the vending machines and that elevator for mobility access.
Well, if this is emergency access as well, it'd be access to go in. So if there's a problem with the train down there, they can send people in. So there may be a staff room somewhere which might have diagrams for fire.
Oh, there might be, but it's not on this level. If there is.
Okay. Right. So is there a staff staircase as well as the main staircase, or not?
No, just the main staircase. There is, so it looks like one of the side staircases, there's some kind of contraption. There's like it's built out next to the wall, and it looks like there's a handle you can pull to where it looks like maybe that it breaks away or opens up and then lays down over the stairway as a ramp so that people can then push people up or down.
Yeah, accessible.
Yeah, but that's still closed, and there are, it's a relatively wide area going downward. There's enough room for what would have been in the center an up and a down escalator that's maybe one person wide, and then kind of a 2 to 3 person wide stair on either side for up and down traffic.
Okay, so looking down the stair and judging the slope of the tunnel that we saw, do we think that it's just one flight down and then we're down at platform level?
Correct. But the flight is significant. I want to say it's probably at least 35 steps.
Ooh, that's a big stairs.
Yeah, that goes
Okay.
deep.
So looking down there with the night vision goggles, what can you see down there? Any
Okay,
signs
well,
of
if
anything?
Assuming you click off the flashlight, and
Yeah,
Abigail
yeah.
turns on the night vision.
Yeah.
From what you can see from the angle, it looks like it goes down immediately to a platform. You can see kind of like the edge of a row of seats that are facing each direction. You see a cylinder that might be like a trash can or something like that. And from what you can see, once the stairways hit the platform, it does then open up, so there is space.
There's something down there.
Still platform space on either side of the stairway.
Okay.
Difficult to say how much without going down there, but yeah. And of course, there's some signage hanging,
Yeah,
the
typical
street
subway
station,
stuff.
and yeah.
Do we want to risk going down there and looking for a station office that might have a diagram
I think
of service tunnels, etc.?
There seems to be no one else around here. Touchwood. Fingers crossed. I think we might be alright to have a wee look around.
Yeah, might be safe.
The problem is we are
Okay.
using light, so we are if we go down, we will advertise that we are there.
Here, yeah. Maybe we just ride it out here in the entrance, ride out the storm, and then grab some snacks on the way out. Maybe we just play it safe.
I'd say we don't grab the snacks on the way out because that would reveal that we've been here.
Yeah, but there seems to be no one else coming and going, so there's no one to find that in the next 2 days or next day. Do you know what
Unless
I mean?
it's somebody with skills like mine,
Well, yes.
Charlemagne. Okay. Well, in that case, I suggest we retreat back to the entrance passageway. So we've got an escape route out if suddenly they decide they've not tricked us and they can attack us. And we wait for the storm to go. I mean, it looks like this is an access route down to that tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So if his nibs is between us, or whatever he's arranged is between us and the subway entrance, then we've got a route in there that's not obvious.
Right.
But if he's the other way, further down the tunnel, well,
Yeah, it doesn't
we'll
matter.
just have to deal with that
Yeah.
as the case may be. But
Yeah.
Tell you what, if we survive this encounter with the father and we walk out of here, we'll come here and pick up some snacks on the way home. How about that for a deal?
You could do that. To be fair, the number of snacks that are still in that vending machine probably are only worth about, what would be equivalent to like 5 rations.
Yes,
but it is preserved. Yeah.
To people
Yeah.
who have been living on cans of beans and cans of soup for a number of
Sure.
years,
Yeah.
to get a candy bar,
sure.
to get a galaxy or a
And-
Milky Way or whatever, that's going to be
Yeah.
an absolute.
And the thing is, if there's Twinkies in there, they're 9 in
They outlive a
Not
nuclear
biodegradable.
apocalypse. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some real American junk food candy bullshit would be an absolute treat to these people who are surviving on
Sure.
baked beans from the can.
Well, it depends whether your metabolism has mutated away from being able to accept them.
That too. Yeah.
That's the thing, because all that.
How horrible
yeah.
would that be if you mutate to where you can't process what's available, like
Well,
biologically, like you have to start
different people
hunting
that have,
something else?
Different people that have grown up in different parts of the world have different foods, like tolerances.
yeah.
Like Asian people tend to be more lactose intolerant because Asia had a lot less milk in its diet over the years. It was a rice diet and not a cheese diet. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah, even it affects people geographically. The different diets does actually affect different people's biology. So that would happen. Things
Yeah.
like that would happen. You would evolve very quickly.
Sure.
If you had nothing for 5 years, you would very quickly evolve to not having that.
Yes.
And it would probably make you sick.
So-
The first time you eat a candy bar, it's probably going to make you sick.
As you turn around, I'm gonna give. Yeah, I mean, you guys are being careful. You're being relatively quiet. I will give each of you a wisdom notice check.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. So Jacob is unaware for whatever reason. Maybe his mind is wandering, but he doesn't hear the kind of like chittering, clicking noises that everyone else hears. That alerts you as you turn around. You see crawling out from underneath the soda machine what can only be called a cockroach. But it is as big as one of your torsos.
Oh my.
It's a rad roach.
And it slips out from underneath the soda machine and like turns and faces you and is just kind of like clacking its mandibles and looking at you.
Well, charge up and axe it, I think.
Charlemagne's played video games before. He knows a rad roach when he sees one. He's going to point the gun. I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not going to shoot.
I'll raise the crossbow, but I'm not
raise the
going to
gun,
fire
but
it
I'm
yet.
not going to shoot. I'm going to potentially maybe use the bayonet on it.
Okay.
Just
I
because
got
of
my
the
spear ready.
noise. Because of the
Oh,
noise.
like what's going on?
Yeah, I'm gonna get ready to stab it and not shoot it. I'm gonna have the bayonet
Okay.
ready.
So are you going to walk past it, closer to the entrance? Give it a wide berth? Try to get past it?
I'm
or-
looking up to see if there's any on the ceiling ready to drop on us.
Good question. And there is not.
So I think
Okay.
we'll try and slowly take a wide berth round it, and if it doesn't attack us, maybe we don't attack it, and we'll just try and go past it.
Yeah.
Is the storm still going?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be going for a while.
So we're not getting out of here anytime soon.
Okay, I will stay between the party and it with my axe as we sidle past.
Okay.
Are we ready? With the
So
bayonet?
as you kind of sidle past, it kind of skitters and turns and faces you as you move past it. Again, clacking its mandibles but it doesn't seem like it's aggressive. If anything, I think Tim would probably recognize this as a defensive posture.
Just posture.
It's scared of us as we are of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I shall once they're past, I shall back away from it. Just
Okay.
keeping my axe ready for use.
So as
Watch
you
it as we go.
move past, it continues to watch you, and then after a few minutes, perhaps, it kind of turns around and slips back underneath the soda machine. I don't know how cockroaches do it, but it seems to fit into a space that it shouldn't fit in, as it kind of slips underneath the body of this soda machine that's kind of sitting close,
a
low to
cockroach
the
for
ground.
You know, there's an animal that's even more especially good at contorting its body to go through small spaces. Did you know that mice can go through like spaces that are like a couple of millimeter? Mice can really constrict right down and get through like
Oh,
tiny
yeah.
spaces.
Man,
Like,
look up what
to go through.
octopi can do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
No, they do.
It just goes through a
I'm like,
thing
no,
like,
I'm
like
fine.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's cool. I've seen that as well.
like just in terms of like size comparison of the size of the animal to the size of the hole. Like an octopus that's probably 30 to 40 times the size of a mouse can fit through a hole that a
Size
mouse
of a
fits
mouse.
through.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's crazy.
mental.
Yeah, so you don't see any more of these creatures. Every once in a while you think maybe you hear some of that chittering and clattering, but
I think
they don't seem to bother you.
if they're like anything like cockroaches, there probably is hundreds of them hiding around in the crevices and cracks, but they'll be just as scared of us as we are of them.
Right.
So that there probably is hundreds of them around us. We just don't know it.
So
even get me started on rats.
after a few hours, the storm settles down and maybe you guys just kind of wait out to make sure that it's completely safe. And we move into midday, one shift lost. Would you like to use this shift to scout the hex further?
Yes, we need to scout out around the tunnel entrance. We heard kind of
Sure.
screeches, etc. See if there's any fresh tracks, etc., etc.
So you have no issues for the rest of the afternoon, kind of scouting around to find what you want. That does mean that you have successfully scouted this hex. So
An XP, I think.
hang on. Why is it not? Oh, it's unlock it.
Look at that. It's a thing of beauty.
There we go.
All right, and as you check out the subway tunnel, obviously there are some fresh tracks in front of the tunnel. Many tracks. It's difficult to tell how many, but in addition to tracks both pouring out of the tunnel and going back into the tunnel, you also see indications of things being dragged by some of these tracks. Trails that can, in addition to, in some places where they haven't been fully covered by snow, blood trails of the things being dragged. So, as far as the size of the trails, you're guessing there might be like cattle there, maybe a deer, maybe some people. Difficult to say. But there is indication that in the middle of the night, as you suspected from your camp, some hunting parties came out and hunted and went back in at daybreak.
Could be people eating cows, could be cows eating people, could be people eating people. Could be any.
A bunch of weird stuff.
Be
out
cows
there.
eating cows.
Yeah.
So they could be in the main tunnels, or the main tunnel rather. They could be. I mean, at any subway entrance, you will normally have some sort of facilities for air conditioning, all that sort of thing. So that there may be a facility inside, an underground facility near the subway entrance that then runs the fans for the underground subway itself.
Yeah, like machinery areas. Yeah.
There may be an old parallel tunnel that was used at one time in constructing the first one. Whatever. But obviously they're using that entrance. This route gets an access in that isn't the one they're expecting, we hope. Yeah. I mean, they may well think we might come up that way, but let's not risk it. So, is there a route from that subway tunnel to this main north-south tunnel?
Yeah.
It connects directly, and there's basically an exchange that has to be hit. It looks like from the state of the yard outside the subway tunnel and the way that it connects, I'll move the subway tunnel label out of the way so you can see it, if it will let me. Oh, I need to move that guy all the way to the back.
And I would suggest the obvious thing we've identified outside the area is a major subway station there. Possibly with overground offices on top of it, who knows?
Come on. Elevation. Now that I put the scouted panel in the way, it's literally in the way.
Well, move it out of the way.
Negative. I should be able to adapt its height, but it's not letting me. What? Okay, so we'll just move it out of the way for now. Oh, I know what's going on. I'm an idiot. I can move it back into the way.
In the wrong layer.
No, you're not. You're a
Right,
GM. By
place.
definition, you're not an idiot.
Okay, so basically what I was trying to tell you is that so the yard outside of the subway tunnel entrance, it looks like it's primarily a freight yard for the above ground railroad, but it looks like maybe they sometimes pull passenger cars off of the line out into this area to work on them, right? Repairs, things like that. So there's a short little jag here that connects to the upper yard, and then there would be at the kind of the midden point here where they connect, there would be an exchange to allow them to get back on the line heading north or south.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
Fair enough. So we can expect to find lots of empty paint cans around that yard then. Because if they're pulling carriages out, etc., then there's going to be graffiti artists have been working
Oh,
there.
yeah, probably, yeah.
The thing is, right, even in the apocalypse, graffiti artists are going to find trains to write on, and they're going to have a heyday. They're going to
Right.
love it.
Right.
They're just going to tag it.
Yeah, some things will never die, and that is graffiti is one of them.
So it is now evening. Do you want to head back to the camp you had the previous night and camp here?
The camp we had the previous night was watching this station, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know we can get there, so let's do that.
Okay. So yeah, I won't make you make a roll. You go ahead and head to that camp and get set up for the evening. Do a quick little encounter check to see if there is one. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we were watching the subway station entrance again, and thousands of cockroaches pouring out of it now that we opened the door.
So let's see. Let's just see if we get something interesting here. Nope, went too far. So yeah, this will happen in the second watch. So whoever's at the second watch.
Well,
Yes,
Charlemagne's
he
on
was
the
going
first,
to-
I'm on the second.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what we've been doing.
Occupants. There we go. That's what I want.
Oh, so they're really good or really bad, boys.
Or it's going to be so good it's bad.
Or so bad it's good, maybe.
All right. So
look at home.
from
Sounds like a really bad B movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, that does, doesn't it?
from your location in your camp. Again, I'm assuming you're doing a cold camp again.
Of course.
Yes.
Tim, as you are kind of surveying the area, I assume with Abigail's goggles,
Night goggles, yeah.
you see down on the street, kind of in front of the subway station that you've been surveilling, 15 figures moving through trudging through the snow. They seem
When
to
you say-
stop when they
Yep.
notice your tracks.
Mm-mm.
I mean, the ones that we hadn't successfully concealed.
Correct. And are kind of looking around. But, you know,
Were they
it's...
moving like the Chuds? Because they moved very differently from humans.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that they're moving very similar to the Chuds, yes.
Right. Okay, we will. I will alert the others, but keep stum and hope that they don't find a campsite.
Well, your intention was to make a hidden campsite. You're doing a cold campsite. They're not going to find you, if you don't want them to.
And
So if
certainly
you
not
don't want
going
to
go and
engage
attack
with
50
them,
Not
Okay,
with 15 of them.
No thanks. I'll just stay asleep if you don't mind, Tim. You've got that. You can deal with that.
yeah, if you have no intention to go down after them, you don't have to wake anybody up. You can just watch as they search the area. Maybe at one point, because you can see a wide swath of the street. Again, this is not a densely populated area yet.
Yep.
Maybe they catch some movement off to the side and they kind of charge off after it, and you can see that they're chasing what looks to be like a deer of some kind.
Mhm.
And yeah, eventually they kind of move off into the distance, and you can't really resolve them anymore in the night vision.
Okay, fair enough. Would there be time for them to get back to the tunnel entrance before dawn, given distance we are and kind of current time?
If they're a part of that group, sure. Yeah, there's definitely time.
If they're
for
not a
them to
part
reach
of that group, we've got even more serious problems.
Funny.
I mean,
Oh.
I don't know.
Well,
Well, I shall,
So you don't-
I shall be on tenterhooks the rest of my watch.
Okay. Yeah, and you actually do see them come back by, dragging a large carcass of some kind that's already half-eaten. It's missing both of its lower legs. Its trunk has been kind of chewed open, and it's just trailing entrails behind it.
I
But they're
successfully resist the
dragging it.
temptation to snipe them from cover with my crossbow.
Oh,
But yeah, they travel back
13.
north, kind of in the direction of the subway tunnel, so you think they're probably a part of that group. I will note, since you watched them and since you just observed, I will let you make
Were there any
A-
non-chuds there?
I will let you make a notice plus intelligence or wisdom roll.
Hmm.
If they are under the Father's orders, there's presumably
what's
a
that roll?
non-chud there.
Okay. So you notice a couple of things.
Yep.
You notice a couple of things. One, there are a couple of non-chuds with them.
Ooh.
At one point, one of them pulls back his hood, and he's clearly just a man. Well, just a man is an interesting
Hang
statement.
on. It doesn't look anything like the father's been described to me, has he? I might
No.
get over this kind of. All right, I won't.
No, not chitinous, not insect-like, but his head is larger than it should be.
Mhm.
Almost inflated, kind of straining against the skin of his scalp.
Mega mind.
In
Is it
addition
blue?
to that one, who does seem to be engaging with the chuds.
Mhm.
You can't hear them clearly, but there does seem to be a vocal exchange that appears to be understood.
Yeah.
In addition to him, you do also notice, as you're watching the party with more interest, that there are a couple of these chuds that are larger than the rest of them.
Mega-Chuds. I shall wake the party up again and point this out.
Oh. I did not have
You
mega
could just tell
chuds
them
on
in the
my...
morning.
I didn't have mega
No,
chuds on my
I'm
birthday.
letting
On
them
my...
see. A picture paints 1,000 words.
I wake up and I
Yeah,
have a
borrow
look.
these night vision goggles.
I get up and I have a look and I notice that I don't have mega chuds on my bingo card for the day.
So
No,
these,
they're on the card for tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.
right? We'll call them Mega-Chuds. These Mega-Chuds are, so they're wearing clothing, right? Which is obscuring a lot of their form, but it looks like
not rags. Because the other ones we came across.
Well, I mean,
were-
they're rags, but like they're covered, right? Like there's obviously some. They're not wearing high quality stuff that they looted from a department store, but like stuff that's kind of thrown together. It's a combination of, well, probably skins and whatever cloth they can find, tarps, things like that.
Mhm.
Very primitive looking.
Yeah.
So you can't see the form completely, but these Mega-Chuds, you feel like they're almost 1.5 to 2 times the size of the other Chuds. And one of the Mega-Chuds, as you're looking closely, you're not going to be affected by this because you took cold-blooded. But you notice that his head is misshapen, and it looks like there's another head fused with the first head kind of into the shoulder. At first you thought it was just a growth, but you think that this Mega-Chud might actually be composed of more than one Chud.
Oh. What do you call the giant with 2 heads again?
Ettins.
Etin,
They
that's
thought
it. It's got a-
Beetlebrox.
It's a chud Etin.
Safe off Beetlebrox. Yeah.
It's a Cheddin. It's a Cheddin. That's what it is.
Chetin, yeah.
I prefer Zaphod. It's much less terrifying.
Yes, it is.
Okay, right. So the odds just went up a little bit more.
I'm just trying to remember what Beetlebrox is from. Why does Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy ring a bell? It's not that, is it?
Because that's where he's
It
from.
is.
Is that where
Yeah.
it's from? Yeah,
It is.
He's president. He was voted president of the galaxy.
Many years ago I read that, but I did
President
just
of the
catch that
Galaxy.
reference.
Yes, and he looked into the engine of the improbability drive.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah. You know
Yeah.
what, it must be 20 years since I've read
I
that.
love that
Yeah,
series.
great series. I need to read it again.
Well, watch
So,
it.
the rest of the
Anyway,
night passes with no trouble.
Apart from my teeth chattering, I may have
Right.
taken cold blood. That doesn't mean that I'm not worried about what's going to happen.
No, it's still shit as shit. I'm like, yeah, like you ain't scared, but it's like, I'll still be worried though. I'm like,
Okay. So Mega-Chuds, take them down at distance. Why do I think that's not going to work? Okay. Well, let's just hope the Red Hand have brought their kind of Gatling, whatever it is,
No.
with them.
The
No,
ballista,
some boom-
whatever
we
it
need some
is,
big
we've got,
boom
yeah.
stick. I need some big boomsticks.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, come dawn, I believe we head north to the Mal, and hope that they've been delayed a
It was
shift
us,
by the
yeah.
lightning storm as we have.
Okay. So heading back north is pretty quick since you've now scouted this hex. This is the 3rd day, so you're actually not expecting them until tomorrow,
Second
right?
March
Because
now,
you
right?
had
Ah, sorry. I thought we said at the start we had yesterday and today before we needed to be back.
back to
I
the
didn't
mall.
I didn't get anybody saying no. That's not the
Oh,
case.
my point is you're not expecting them back. You're not expecting them to be here until the evening, and then in the morning you're all gonna head south, right? With
Yeah.
you guys leading the way. So, since you're not expecting them until the evening, and since you scouted the hex you just left, you could potentially fully scout the hex that you're in,
Might be an
barring
idea.
encounters.
Might be an idea, because if that's another station and we can find an access to there, if he's between the two, then we could access there,
The old
depending on
pincer.
what we find when we go down. Okay,
That's a long way.
Yeah, it's a long way. A
agreed.
couple of kilometers,
For-
isn't it?
Well, my point is that that's a long way for it to be clear, because you have been told that a
Uninterrupted.
lot of the subways have collapsed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, to assume
So you
that
don't.
it's intact from there to there is a big assumption.
Well,
Yeah.
if we're heading north, then if we pass any collapsed bits of subway, that'll tell us yay or nay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's true. If you're heading north, if you want to follow the subway
to
line
see
to
if it's
see
collapsed,
if there's
yeah.
any collapses, you can do that.
True.
I won't even make you roll because you can follow the line.
Given my previous experience, we will not follow the line. We will follow a slight off to the line.
Right, but you can see where you think the line would be
Parallel to the
underneath,
line,
right?
yeah.
Sure. So I will tell you straight up then that yes, your guess is that there are probably a few collapses.
Right.
A few possible collapses. Now, you're not sure if it's collapsed underground, but there's a couple of sinkholes and a couple of kind of depressed areas that would indicate to you that it's likely that that tunnel has been collapsed.
Right.
So there's that plan out the window.
Well,
It's a good
all
plan.
about-
I just wanted to, you don't want to have one team go down there and get so far behind
stop
because
it,
they
stop,
actually
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
have. Yeah.
But it's also a positive because if there are collapses, then that cuts off any retreat up there.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so are we going to scout this hex then with the 2 shifts that we have in the morning?
Yes, but if that is that a bigger station?
That's the one outside.
That is a larger station, yes.
Yeah, that's the one outside.
In which
the mall,
case,
so
if we
it'll be
get
bigger.
chance to break into that and find the subway map, the actual mechanical map, etc. Hopefully, that would cover that entrance as well.
Yeah, if we could find a staff map
Okay.
that shows us
What
the
I'm
service
looking
tunnels
for
and
is the
stuff.
underground service tunnel maps, etc.
Sure.
Right.
Not the London Underground
No,
map,
a
the
staff,
actual
the staff
engineering map.
Yeah, the engineering
Yes.
map. So it's got
Yeah.
service tunnels and stuff on it.
Okay, so here's your options then. If you're gonna go into that station and look specifically for that map, I'll let you do it, but that's not gonna let you fully scout this hex because
Well,
that will take a shift.
I'm
to
not fussed
explore.
about that.
Okay.
I'm not fussed about an extra experience point. I want
That's
as
fair.
much information
And we got
about
one anyway.
Yeah.
the attack we're going to make as possible.
Okay.
And that's where I think there might be some information.
We've got the XP anyway, Dave.
Are-
We just need to scout one hex. We've done one, so we've got that anyway. I think finding a map
Okay,
with the
so
service
are
tunnels
you
on it
going-
is a priority.
Are you going to use one shift to half scout the hex so that you can come back and scout the rest of it later, or are you just going to use one shift to explore the larger station and one shift to say, I don't know, scavenge, look for some stuff?
First
Well,
shift,
let's
first
explore
priority, finding a map.
Information and see what we find.
Okay.
Because if we find if there's more information there that will take longer to find,
Yeah.
then we can do that. So let's check the station first.
So the station, as I said, it's close to the mall, so you probably would have spotted it. Well, we said you did spot it on the way down, because it's an above ground station at this point.
Yep.
You took the map, the public map on the way down, but for, we'll say close by, there's a building where the office would be. It would be locked, so somebody's going to need to make a sneak check to overcome the lock for me, or exert to just bust the door down.
Anybody want to assist me on a sneak check?
Nobody can assist you with picking a lock. That's
Okay.
a one-person job.
In that
Hold
case,
hold the flashlight
what's
in
that
it.
against? Strength or dex?
Dex.
Dex.
Yeah.
Come on, look at that roll.
Okay, yeah. So,
Here we go.
you pull out your trusty
lock.
bobby pin and maybe a screwdriver, and you're able to pop the lock and get inside. And this does appear to be like an office/administration area for the local collection of lines. The problem, well, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to let one of you get to decide who, make a luck check. And here's my thinking. This is not the administrative offices of the subway. This is an office location for some of the nearby lines and some of the nearby stations. But realistically, the information you're looking for would probably be on a computer, not hard copy. hard copy would be in like a regional office in an archive. Because keep in mind, this is essentially 2030 at this point. So it would have been 2025. They would have digitized all that stuff. But if somebody is willing to, sorry, go ahead.
I'm willing to tell you, London Underground in their engineering offices, plexi plastic sheet covering a paper copy of the overall layout on the wall that they can
in
then
every
move
single office.
In the major engineering offices, yes.
Well,
not
that's
necessarily
what
every
I'm saying,
station.
though. This is a larger station, but this is not like a major
Okay, fair
engineering
enough.
center.
Okay.
This is an overhead station. So I mean, it's possible. That's why I'm going to let you make a roll. So whoever wants to take the chance and the opportunity to make a luck roll for the group to see if this has something like that.
Remember, I've got Comrade. If we fail this roll, I can make you succeed it, or I can make you re-roll it with Comrade. So whoever's got the best luck save.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Was that luck
Well,
save?
I'm on
did you say?
11 plus.
I'm
not sure
11
what
plus
everybody else is.
also. But I
Yeah,
can't
11
use
plus isn't bad.
I can't use Comrade on myself though, so I can't give myself a re-roll, Dave. I can give you one though.
Well, why don't you make the roll, Dave? And if we need to,
Okey-doke.
you'll get a re-roll. Chances are high.
Nobody can assist me with this.
No.
Oh,
Okay,
it rolled
so-
up at 19.
I will
Damn.
use my Comrade.
So roll it again.
and
You're
can
getting
roll it
Comrade
again.
from Charlemagne.
That's very kind of you, boss.
You can use that once per character per game.
There you go.
Come on.
So
right.
as you break into the office, you are looking around. Obviously, there's several computer terminals there for people to be working on. There's no large map kind of laid out. Like this is not an operations center, so it's not something where they would track it. But in a back room, you do find what appears to be like a secondary archive location. And going through the various filing cabinets, or maybe it's more along the lines of if you've ever seen like an architect's kind of large codex where they have large maps,
Rolodex
like
thing.
yeah. You find something like that, and you're able to flip through, and you are able to find the engineering maps of the local lines, specifically, not the entire network. But you are able to find very quickly on the map your location currently, and also the location of the subway tunnel entrance to the maintenance yards, and also the nearby station that you have access to. It does seem to indicate that there are some infrastructure areas along that line in that location nearby. What exactly what are you looking for in the map? Like, what do you want it for? What are you trying to utilize it for?
You know where
Well-
service tunnels and things are, so you know where other entrances into the main tunnel are. So within
it's
the
where
subway
his
where
nibs
people
is
could
likely
be
to
hiding.
be,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
he's not just going to be in a plain tunnel. He's got captives, he's got his
Sure.
own people, he needs storage for this, that, and the other. So we're looking for locations on there that can be accessed through that tunnel entrance.
Yeah.
And not too far from it, that could be
So-
used as an assembly area.
Right. So it looks like right about, we'll use a square this time, here. God, that's huge. There is either a dead station or an area where there was a platform with some offices for infrastructure.
Right. So they may have an escape route out through a collapsed section, if that goes up to the surface, maybe.
Well, the collapse
Or-
sections you saw don't look like they opened into the subway. It just like it was just collapsed.
If that was an office area, does it show any access from the surface?
There is an indication of access from the surface. Essentially like an
There should be a
engineering
fire escape
shaft.
at the very least.
Yeah,
be a
like
fire
well,
escape.
it's strangely enough, there is no fire escape here. The fire escape listed for this section is the station that you guys found.
Right.
But there does look to be a shaft from above.
An air shaft. Right.
Yes. Well, it's a maintenance shaft, so a shaft that acts as an air shaft for the system and for this station, since it doesn't have a surface entrance, but it also indicates that it has a ladder in it.
Right.
If it's still accessible.
Well, we may have to pop back and check that. Okay, but we've used up most of today, the first shift, in checking this place, haven't we?
Yeah, the first shift was, checking this place out, essentially exploring it.
And it would take us a shift to get back there and a shift to return, wouldn't it?
Since this is a smaller station, I will say that checking over this station, there's no danger in it. So checking over this station, finding the map, like moving into this hex and checking this station was your first shift.
Yes.
Right, because you had to come from all the way down there into this
Right.
hex, and you got to search this station. So that's your first shift.
Right. So, question is, in the second shift, would we have time to go and check that access and return, or would it take us that full shift to get there and check the access, and we'd be stuck?
Since you have explored that hex, it will take you. Time is essentially half, right? So it'll take you half the shift to get there. You can check for the access point, and then it takes you half the shift to get back.
Shall we try that, Charlemagne?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay.
So you jump down there, quickly following the trail, and get to.
Unless we get hit with a line on the way, he says.
Oh, I've already rolled both of the encounters. There was nothing.
God.
Yeah, we're clear.
So you get down there, you find the area where you think this access shaft should be, and essentially what you find is in a nearby building, a bit of an alcove on the exterior of the building. There is a grate there that is, because of its closeness to the next building, it's in a bit of an alley. It looks like it's not. Looks like it is not fully covered. There's a bit of snow cover on it, but because of the closeness of the buildings and maybe, wind blowing through the alley, it seems to have been mainly kept clear. And yeah, it is accessible. There's a lock on top of it, but you should be able to overcome that lock and then use the ladder should you need to.
Is there any sign of melting of the snow? Because if there's warmer air coming up, there might be a little bit of sign of melting snow.
Yeah, I'll say there's maybe a little bit of a sign of warming there,
Okay,
which would indicate that either there's a source of heat down there or a lot of bodies.
Yes.
And in fact, as you're close to it, I mean, the grate itself probably, it's not a grate, it's like a solid kind of door hatch. But I'll say it does have some holes in it, and you notice around some of the holes there's a bit of blackening, and you can smell like
smoke.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we need oil, etc., because if we get the lock off, we need to kind of oil the hinges before we open it. But if the hatch is still in good condition, then it's likely the ladder underneath it is probably still in good condition. And even if it isn't, we can bring rope.
Yeah.
The question is what it leads down to. If it leads down into the middle of their territory, sending people down one at a time is just asking them for them to get eaten. But it's another option that we can discuss.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I will tell you, because you would have seen a rough representation of it. Let me take a look here. So it looks like the air shaft is going to come down at the, or open up, essentially, at the north end of the platform, just above, or beside is probably more like an elevator.
I mean, if it's a draft relief tunnel, then there's probably a direct access onto the main tunnel itself sideways. So that as the trains go through, they push the air through, and it just goes up the shaft to relieve the pressure. But that would be a side chute with a kind of grating or whatever, and then an access onto the tunnel, onto the platform itself through a service door or something like that, I would guess. So
yeah, it definitely looks like there's some kind of a service door that you would be accessing as you came down this. So you're coming down into essentially a small room with a door.
Okay, and that would account for the smoke as well, because if they're down there on the platform or in the tunnel, the smoke would take the route of least resistance and go up the draft relief shaft. Fine. Okay, well, I think we've got enough to be going on with. I don't want to try opening the thing up now. I suggest we go back, meet everybody, bring some oil back, and discuss with the Red Hand what they and we should do. Because if this is, we're pretty sure that they're not at the station. Yeah? Because those chuds would have eaten that cockroach anyway. So the chuds themselves might be living in the tunnel, but it's likely that the father and his gang are using that as a handy place to live. Yeah?
Sure, yeah.
So this is a potential access to take them from the rear, but there's going to be limited space for getting people down there.
Yeah, and it'll be slow.
We have to get as many as we can down as quietly as we can before we make a move, basically.
That's
the problem is that according to the schematics, the
one at a time.
The area that it would open up into is essentially a closet. Like after the first person is down, they're going to be out in the middle of the platform. So like a small group might be able to come down there and be prepared to burst out at an opportune moment.
Like 4 people.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're trying to leave poor old Kent and the Red Hand to do a frontal assault, and we hide in the back. That's hardly comradely behaviour.
I don't plan on hiding though. I want to be. But
anyway, let's go back. And hopefully the Red Hand, Kent, and the rest of our group will turn up, and we can then discuss the strategy to take.
Yeah. Okay. So you head back to the mall. You're a bit ahead of everybody because they're going to be about a shift behind. Or actually, no, they wouldn't be, because they would just be traveling today. They wouldn't have, it's not going to take them as long to get to the warehouse as it did for you to do all that stuff down there.
I mean, if the Red Hand have scouted all the hexes, it would just take them a day to get here from the hospital, wouldn't it?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So they should be arriving this evening because we haven't had bad weather.
Right. Exactly. Not today. Yeah. So you guys get back to your warehouse. Are you going to close the doors or leave them partially open, or?
leave them partially open and have somebody standing on guard by the door, ready to
Okay.
greet people coming.
So I would say the first group to arrive would probably be Kent and his fighters, minus Piotr, who went to the Red Hand. And Carlos, Sophia, and
Kang.
why did I just forget her name? No, not Kang. Kang's staying at home.
Kang's
You don't
staying.
get multiple leveled characters.
Worth a try. I like Kang, he's handy as hell.
Oh, fuck
Carlos, oh, and Rosie.
Well, he's
Rosie,
building guns.
Carlos, and Sophia. And yeah, they have Fallout with them. Fallout looks,
Fallout is
he's got a
good.
spring in his step, he is spry, he looks healthy, and he looks pretty dapper in his new armor.
Love it. Love it.
He's not looking any younger.
So they show up, and you know they're carrying a few crates of Molotovs, and they've got some kind of man portable, but still large, like maybe the size of like a Gatling gun, but it's a spotlight. And I guess Carlos would probably be like, so Kang says you're going to burn out the batteries on that thing. It's a one-off. Like, when the batteries burn out, they're probably going to blow the bulb, too. It was hastily put together. This is going to be good for one, event. And how long it lasts is a big question, too.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're gonna only need
Yep.
it for one quick blast. I trust Kang's done a good job. I trust it'll be good. It'll do what we
Oh
need
yeah,
it to
that King knows what he's doing. He knows what he's
do.
doing.
He does. He does.
But the Molotovs are all ready to go.
Excellent.
And so you guys get setting up camp, and maybe Carlos or Sophia stands on the door waiting for anybody else to arrive. And they don't arrive during the first watch.
Okay. Well, we'll clear an area inside for them to come in and camp out.
Okay.
But we shall stay on watch. I'll take the second watch again.
Or I guess just to make resting easily, we'll say that they almost don't arrive during the first watch, but just before that second watch really starts to kick in, maybe as people are getting ready, like, maybe we're on our own, and start getting ready to tuck in for bed. Because right now, you've got a total of, let's see, Carlos, Fallout, Rosie, Sophia, that's 4, you're 4.
8.
And then in addition to them, you've got Kent, Alonzo, gentleman introduces himself as Alonzo Pappas, a John Miller, and Nkoyo Onajabi, a dark-complected woman she looks ready to go, and a Zoe Woods all introduce themselves to you, and they are strapped and ready. They're wearing different types of armor, maybe leather, maybe some scrap mail. Nkoyo actually has the only other riot cop level vest that you've seen, aside from the one that Charlemagne wears. And they all have either combat rifles, or Alonzo actually has a combat shotgun that looks like it's
Ooh.
semi-automatic.
Nice.
They are strapped.
Combat and shotgun. When you put those two words together, things get really serious.
So that's,
And Kent is actually just carrying a sword.
Oh, what a badass! What an actual badass!
It's effectively like a Zweihander, like a two-handed sword,
Yes.
Ooh,
but
nice.
it's made out of scrap metal, so it's a bit wider than.
Like a bumper sword.
It's not quite that big. It's not like the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, but it's almost that big. Like, it's
Nice.
close. Like, this thing looks like if he just holds it above your head and lets gravity take it, it'll cut you in half. So yeah, that's what he's got, and so everybody is getting ready to turn in when whoever's at the door calls out and says, "Group coming in."
And who else are we expecting? The Red Hands, eh?
Hopefully.
Right.
So Kent gets up and heads towards the door.
I'll get up and head
So
towards
do
the door
I.
as well.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
make
I'll
sure
come along.
Charlemagne's going because he's the talker.
Yep.
Sure. So yeah, you see very quickly Kent looks out and sees a form who makes kind of a complicated hand signal that Kent makes a hand signal in return to, and he says, "It's Piotr." Or no, I'm sorry, Kent always mispronounces it. It's Peter.
And how many others?
There are 10 behind him.
Amazing.
So your
led
forces
by-
now number. Let me figure out the forces first. So let's
Let's
see.
round
Oh,
two.
I forgot. There was a. Let me back up. There was another person that showed up with Kent and his fighters.
Yeah.
It was Albert Barker,
Oh yeah, the messenger.
the messenger, and he is now wearing clothing more similar to what you were all wearing because, you let him into the stores. He got himself some good winter clothing. Kent's people, I'll say, he didn't take from your stores, but Kent's people managed to provide him with a rifle. Does that concern any of you?
No, I'm glad to see him fighting for us. We saved his life. He that's a man who owes us a life debt. That's a man that will fight loyally for this side.
Okay.
If Kent and Charlemagne vouch for him, they're the people who look into people's souls.
Okay.
I'll just make sure he's not behind me with a
Right.
shotgun. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'll
with your
trust him
original
to a
camp
point.
followers and
That's
you 4,
12.
that's 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's 15 on your side. That's
Yeah.
including Peter, who's coming in.
Is that
Piotr.
including Fallout?
That's including Fallout.
Yep.
And then 10 more. So you've got about 25 people.
25.
Mm.
And we're expecting 30 to 50, at least.
Who's leading the Red Hand, by the way?
So the person leading the Red Hands is just somebody none of you have seen. He comes up, he introduces himself as Blade. He's, I don't know, maybe 20,
Does he
21.
work for the boss, or does he work for Sandra, or both? Or is he just...
Ooh, that's an interesting question. How do you ask him that?
Well, I won't ask him. I'll ask Piotr.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you take Piotr aside and ask him?
I will take Piotr aside and ask the question.
Yeah, who's his
Is
loyalty
this,
is to?
vouched for by? Is this Sandra's team, or just a Red Hand team under their
So-
boss's control?
If you take him aside, if anybody else wants to go aside and have a conversation with Piotr,
I think I would.
he says, this Sandra, she was not there. It was only Elfen. I explain. Your people have not bothered him in some time. He hates the father. He was willing. So maybe don't talk about your
No,
relationship
no.
with Sandra.
That's why I spoke to you.
Okay.
I thank him for risking his life to go and get us this.
Oh, it's no trouble. I have many friends there.
Well,
And in fact, he seems to be very buddy-buddy with most of these people.
Yeah.
So it comes out that Piotr went to Eldfen, explained the situation, asked if he could ask some of his buddies to come and help. And while Eldfen is not fond of your outfit, he's no longer antagonistic towards you. Because he's not seen any of you for a while, and it seems like Piotr is kind of intimating that when Eldfen doesn't see you for a while, he kind of forgets about you,
out of sight,
and so
out of
you're not important
Out
anymore.
of sight, out of mind, exactly. So you could say we
Right.
have a neutral relationship.
Yeah, with him, right? Sandra is still on your side
Yeah,
At
but,
we're
at
neutral
least
with him.
until he sees us again.
until he sees you again, depending upon what you're doing, right? But yeah, so he let Peter grab up some of his friends and gear up and come out. They all look to be, relatively well geared, about equivalent to all of you and your people. So they're not over geared, but they're not under geared either. They look like they've got some armor, they've got some ranged weapons and hand-to-hand weapons. They look like they're all a bit young, as Piotr is.
That's better
He's
than a bit
maybe
old.
22, 23.
A bit young.
Maybe.
It's better than a bit old. It is in this situation.
And as you speak to them, they all give you weird names like Blade, Mace, Katana. One guy is called Machete. Another guy goes by. They're all just naming themselves after weapons for some reason.
I like it.
Now they're not necessarily carrying those weapons. I want to point out they're just
Yeah.
they're naming those weapons. They're naming themselves after those weapons. You don't get a real name from any of them.
Well, that probably hides their background and keeps them anonymous. And well, whatever their customs are, it's up to them.
And they're all, of course, wearing red. You kind of have to wear almost entirely red to be a red hand for some reason.
Well, I suggest to Charlemagne that since they've been travelling, they get a good shift's sleep,
A
and
good
we
rest.
discuss matters tomorrow morning,
Oh yeah.
if that's okay with them.
Okay, so I think that's a good place for us to finish tonight.
Mhm.
You've got 25 fighters total, including a dog who's not going to be able to go down a ladder in an air shaft. But he is armored. And
As
yeah,
long as we put a
so
ring bolt in the top of the armor, we can lower him down the shaft.
oh, I see.
We'll get him down. We'll get him down.
Yeah, and I will say that if it comes to, if you guys are thinking about plans like in between now and the next session, remind me that I said this just in case I try to go back on it. But if you come up with a plan like, oh, let's lower Fallout with a rope and a ring bolt on the back of his armor, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, nobody packed rope. Like, no, you can imagine like some of the other people brought in some rope or something. So within reason to pull off a plan, your compatriots and fellows will have some additional equipment to assist with that kind of stuff, but only within reason. I will maintain veto powers. You're not going to be able to say, oh, well, Blade brought like 6 claymore mines, didn't he? Like, no, that's not going to happen. Everybody's going to have, I think I'll be nice and say that everybody will have access to 2 Molotov cocktails.
Okay, nice.
A total of 50 were made. Every person will be able to carry 2. No, I'm sorry. 48 were made. Fallout's not going to carry any Molotov cocktails for you. You're not just going to strap them to his armor.
That's not wise.
No.
Oh, look, that's the father.
Right.
Get him, boy.
How awful would you all be if you did that? Get him! All right, he's got his teeth on him.
Sick 'em, boy.
Shoot the bottles. Yeah. Awful. And yeah, if you can think of anything else that you might need, as long as it's within reason, we'll be able to talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that just leaves experience for today. So you get a point of experience for exploring a hex, for scouting a hex fully.
That's one. We get one for participating, don't we?
Yeah, you get one for participating. Yep. And I will give you one for dealing with a dangerous encounter. At 2, actually. The lightning storm.
And we had the rad roach, and we had the chuds.
And the rad roach, because that could have gone a very different way depending upon how you had acted. So, 4 points of experience
Plus
today.
4, nice. Oh, I still didn't level up. I think I need another 3. I think it's 27 for level 6.
Yep. Well, I am now level 6.
Oh, nice.
I just had level 4, so I'm like, yay!
Nice.
Nice.
Do you want to do
So
that now
that gives me-
or after we finish recording?
That's up to you.
We'll do
We
the
have
high
been
ages.
doing levels during recording,
have been
but we
doing
can do it
during
after.
recording,
Yeah.
So, well, it just depends. If you're going to be able to pick your stuff quickly, we could do it on record. If not, we'll do it off record. It's up to you guys. Do they get edges and focuses? at
Well,
4
I
and
can certainly
6?
roll my hit points, can't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Do you
I
want to roll
believe
your
is
hit points,
66.
Max, and we could just then you can do if you've got any edges and focuses, we can do that in between.
Yeah, so
I'm
66,
I'm
unless you have any
Constitution
bonuses.
14 I have Constitution 14, so is that...
So 66 plus 6.
Plus 6.
66 plus 6. Roll!
Level 6, you're the leader now.
And hope. Oh dear.
With 22 hit points.
Is that
Well,
higher or lower?
I already have 25.
So you just go up
So
by
you
1.
so you go up to 26.
Okie doke. We've had... Hang on. It won't go up.
You change it on the other
My
side.
current hit... Oh, hang on a second. I need to change hit points over... it's current hit
Yeah.
points 25, so I need to change my...
You rolling yours,
normal
Max?
hit points to 26.
Yep, I'm about to roll it right now.
Good luck.
Okie doke. And we've had...
That's
3
that's
nights?
below. Yeah, that's below mine.
Okay.
Please, may I remove 2 strain?
You should be able to remove 2. Yeah, for sure. Because
one
although you
strain.
gained 1 yesterday, you still slept yesterday. So
Yep.
yeah,
Not got
you
any
can
strain, have
remove
a
2.
stress.
Oh, I'm strainless, isn't I?
Yep, same here.
I need to remember to put my current hit points up to my maximum hit points. Right, fine. Okay, lovely. As far as spending the points are concerned, it's 2 to take a 0 to 1, yes? And 3 to
I
take
believe
a
that's
1 to
correct.
2.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it basically goes up by 1. So 0 to 1 is 1. Or no, 0 is 1. 0 to 1 is 2. 1 to 2 is 3.
So it's
And
So
the
if
level
I
you're
put
going
my
up to
shoot up to
plus
1, would that increase my chance to hit by 1? My attack?
It does not, no. But it does allow you to reload crossbows and fire in the same action. the point of increasing your shoot is not to improve your attack bonus. Although there are some focuses that, depending upon your level in shoot, will actually give you bonuses. Like, I believe Brian gains additional damage based on his shoot score because he took Deadeye up to 2, if I recall correctly.
You're on mute, Brian.
Oh yeah, sorry.
And I can't increase a focus level using skill points. That's pure.
No.
No, you have to.
Yeah, that's
Purely on
purely
skill.
based on levels.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
at 6,
Next one's at 7.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just checked.
yeah.
Does Jacob get any at 4? Edges and focus?
So Jacob at 4, I think 4 is another one where you don't gain anything either.
So just skill points.
Because he's at 5, Jacob's going to get a foci and an edge. Yeah, so just skill points here. And keep in mind, if you want to add skill points to your attributes, if you have any attributes near the breaking point, you can do that as well.
Okay.
According to my notes, Craig has used one of his 5 attribute increases. Tim has used 2 of his 5 attribute increases.
I
And-
leveled up mine. I've increased my wisdom from 13 to a 14.
Nice.
Okay, which costs you 1, because that's the first skill increase for Jacob. So that
Yep.
costs you 1 skill point, or the first attribute increase.
Yeah.
And what was that increasing again? What did you say?
Wisdom.
Wisdom from a 13 to a 14.
Okay, so that becomes a +1 bonus as well.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think I took my constitution up.
This time?
No.
Yeah,
I-
no,
I've
in
had
the
two
past you have.
increases.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's my constitution that's gone up. But the next break point for constitution from for a 2 bonus, I think, is 17, is it?
17. for
No, it's
plus
18.
2. Oh, is it 18?
18.
18
Yeah.
is 2, is it?
18. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's another 4, so I don't think I'll be putting
Yeah,
that.
this isn't a huge modifier game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It said the magic words tonight that made it really feel like an OSR game. Save or die.
Save or die.
Yeah. That's when I was like, yeah, this really is OSR. This really is old school gaming. Save or die.
For the time being, I'll leave those 3 skill points because I'm not entirely sure what to. So if I just leave them for the time being.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. You don't have to spend them immediately, sure. I mean, you don't even have to spend them like this level. Like, you can hang on to
You
them
save
if you
them.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no rush for that. Since you brought it up, I will note that the weather table that we've been using, I made that up too. So I
worked
made
so
the
well.
lightning,
It's
the
been-
extreme lightning storm is save or die.
It's been quite mean to us, that weather table. It's been fun. It's been a lot
Oh,
of
the
fun.
snowstorm, that sucked ass.
That sucked also. Yeah.
Yeah, blizzard.
That was a bad one also.
Have you hit all of them yet? Oh no, you haven't hit everything yet. You hit the acid sleet. That was rough,
Yeah,
but
that was rough, yeah.
there's also a heavy acid sleet,
Oof.
which is worse.
Probably like hailstones of acid.
Oh,
Well, let's just hope the weather's good tomorrow as we head south to the battle.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
So yeah, we end on March the evening. Well, I guess everybody's going to sleep at this point. So the evening is March 5th or March 6th.
That's it.
Time is trucking along. We've been 16 sessions in, and we've only had.
Yeah. Shame we
When
haven't
did
got
we start?
explosives.
I think February
but-
4th, I believe, is when
Yeah.
we started
I've only got
because
us-
that's.
I've only got us on the 3rd of March. I've lost some days.
Yeah, you haven't been tracking them all because I'm
Clearly.
tracking by shift now. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to keep up.
So we'll start with March 6th in the morning tomorrow, the next session.
No,
that
it's.
would be
Oh
the-
yes. So it's my last shift of 12 a.m. technically is the next day. So
Okay.
like the next shift we move into will be 6 a.m. on March 6th,
Nice one.
which is what we're currently in. Yeah.
Nice one.
Can I ask the Red Hand one question before we finish?
Absolutely, you can. Sure.
Did they send a drone?
Blade, the leader.
Did they send a drone south recently to investigate?
Drone.
I will explain that a drone was heard hovering around, and it came from the north and headed to the north.
Oh yeah, I think we got a few of those. I mean, I didn't send it. Nobody told me about a drone, but it could have been us, I guess.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't mess around with all the tech stuff. I just shoot at stuff when they tell me to.
I will keep a close eye out for the other Red Hand group that's kind of tracking behind to take advantage of our events.
Okay.
Sorry, is my paranoia coming out again?
Just a little bit. Just
A little bit. Just a little. All right, guys. Well, that's all I've got for you today. So,
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you,
Okay.
Brian.
Oliver,
Many
if you want to
thanks,
take us out.
Will do. Thank you very much, Brian. It was a great session. We're really building up to this big battle. Next session's going to be epic. I'm absolutely sure of it. We're all going to die, or we're going to have an epic victory, but it's going to be epic either way. So thanks very much for the game, Brian.
Yep.
And Brian and Max and David, thanks very much for your company tonight in the game. It was a lot of fun. And to the viewers, thank you very much for watching. We really appreciate you. We'll see you in 2 weeks for session 17. I am RxOliver. These are my friends. Good night.
Good.
Good night.
Good night.